Now, the next case.
All parties on Brown versus Brown. Step forward, please.
Catherine Brown helped keep her daughter-in-law, Shauna Piper Brown, out of jail after she confessed to stealing from her boss. Now, she wants the money back.
To Mrs. Browns. This is your soon-to-be ex-daughter-in-law.
Yes.
You say she owes you $2,000.
Yes.
For what?
For money that we lent her in August of '94 to pay off a debt to an employer.
What kind of a debt?
She had some problems with the employer. Some money was missing at work that she had to pay back. And they came to us. Her and my son came. And
Who came?
Shauna and my son, Brandon, came to my husband and I and asked for help. And the arrangement was made between all four of us for us to help her. And she was going to go to school. And when she finished school, which was going to be approximately 9 months, when she started to work, she was going to be responsible for paying the bill back.
And this was $2,000?
That was $2,000.
Okay.
I didn't even choose to go to school until...
Forget school.
Okay.
Let's get to
I never...
August of 1994. Were you working at the time?
At the time, yes, I was working, and there was a situation. But the monies were loaned to us as a couple.
Well, that's what you say in your
Right.
papers. Am I gathering from what your mother-in-law says that you were working for whatever company you were working for, and they accused you of taking this $2,000? How much was missing?
I think that's irregardless at the time. I don't have an exact amount.
No, it's not irrelevant, because that's what she says the money was for.
I don't know the exact amount now.
Do you?
Yes, ma'am.
Step up, please.
We've got the confession and everything from the employer right here. It's $3,390.55 is what she stole from the company.
Now, did the company agree to take $2,000 in satisfaction of this $3,390?
She also signed another paper that said that she would make payments on the rest of it. On the rest owed, the original $2,000 would keep her out of jail.
Let me see the papers, please.
Judge Judy will be right back.
We were having financial difficulties. My husband had not been working, and we had a drug problem within the home, and there was a lot of money going to irregardless things, and I was feeling guilty. I took money from the office so that we could...
Mr. Brown, did you know what your wife was doing with this money, sir?
I didn't realize that she was getting it. In fact, my parents came to me. The employer had went to them and told her. She told me that there was some sort of situation that she was having trouble at work. Then her employer went to my parents and told them.
Don't tell me what the employer told your parents.
Right, well, then my parents came to me and told me, and that's when everything came out. And to keep my son's mother out of jail, which I look back, I should have just let her go. But
according to this, Miss Brown, you were facing jail.
Possibly, yes.
So your in-laws helped you out?
Yes, they did. We were having financial difficulties. My husband had not been working, and we had a drug problem within the home, and there was a lot of money going to irregardless things, and I was feeling guilty. I took money from the office so that we could keep our home, and I wasn't telling him. And when it came down, he didn't want me to go to jail, and so we asked his parents to help me out.
Mm-hmm. So you owe him the money?
I don't have the money, and I didn't make an arrangement to pay it back on that date. And that's what I'm disputing, is I didn't make arrangements on that date. And they're saying August and, certain dates. Yes, I told her I owed her. I realized that, but I don't have the money.
In your answer, you do say, if any money was given, it was not a loan to me. It was a loan made to both my husband and I for the crime. And therefore, why should you pay it yourself? That's what you say.
I understand that, but in my own views and in the situation at the time, if the other situations that had been going on in our home, which are irregardless to this, we wouldn't have been in that. I wouldn't have been in that depression. I wouldn't have done such things.
Well, there are always excuses that people make for criminal behavior. Stealing is a crime. I'm not going to go into what was going on in your home. I don't think it's particularly relevant. According to you, it was not a good situation. I assume that you're both better off out of the situation. And I certainly hope that neither one of you again are going to be involved with anything that saps all your money, like drugs. Good. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will be right back.
That's not the first employer she stole from, and just goes on and on.
There's so much more money owed by her that I'll never see. It's ridiculous. But I got this, and she finally had to pay for something, so I'm happy with the way it turned out.
20-year-old Ashley Branham is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Jeremy Benjamin, for a cell phone bill she paid on his behalf. Jeremy says Ashley prematurely paid a bill that he was disputing.
Miss Branham, this tall drink of water over here used to be your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you were foolish enough to get him a cell phone.
Yes.
A cell phone with a bill in your name.
Yes.
And you did that, according to you, and really not disputed by Mr. Benjamin, so that you could converse with each other.
Yes.
And with a promise that he was going to take care of the bill.
Yes.
Well, he didn't exactly do that. And according to you, within the first couple of months that he had the phone, and it was one of those fancy phones. What do they call it, Mr. Benjamin?
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry.
Yes, ma'am.
He kept trading in the BlackBerry. And by the time he left for Europe to play basketball, which he does professionally or semi-professionally?
Professionally.
Professionally. He had racked up a bill of close to $1,700. And then you cut off the phone.
Yes.
So you had charges for cutting off the phone because there's an early termination fee?
Yes.
See, I don't do those things really well, but I heard all of this before. Because believe it or not, there are other foolish young ladies who've been standing right where you've been standing, who did the same dumb thing that you did. They are supposed to buy you presents. You get it? Right?
Correct.
They're supposed to bring flowers and candy and jewelry and all that kind of stuff. They're supposed to woo you. That's the way the Creator made it. Not the other way around. Because usually they're not that great a bargain.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ashley Branham says ex-boyfriend Jeremy Benjamin owes for $1 cell phone bill.
Now, are you the bargain exception? Because you're going to tell me, because I want to hear it from your own mouth, Mr. Benjamin, because you look like a decent enough young man. She paid the bill because her mother said to her,
I don't want your credit to be bad.
That it was going to ruin her credit. And I assume that the reason she got the phone in the first place is because you didn't have credit.
Something like that.
Well, I assume if you could have gotten it for yourself, you would have gotten it for yourself, right?
Oh, yeah, I was told never to, not take gifts, If she offers, I'm not going to say no.
You were told what? I'd like you to keep your voice up. I want to hear that.
Oh, you can't hear me. I'm sorry. I said my mother told me never to, not accept gifts, if
Your mother always told you to accept a gift.
Of course.
I'm getting to like you less and less, Mr. Benjamin.
Sorry about that.
I knew that it was just a slip. So, why isn't this bill your responsibility?
Because actually, the phones were actually replacement phones. I wasn't upgrading the phones. The phone that I received was a defective phone. So the actual reason why I had to keep sending the phones back because they kept sending me refurbished phones.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did. Actually, I did.
Yes, and?
Call her and explain it to her. I said, I called her and I said, Ashley, these phones, I'm having a problem with these phones. I'm going to send them back. So what they do is they send you a phone and they send you a box. You put the broken phone in the box, you put the label on top, and you send it away. So I did that about 3 times. And they tell you before, if we don't receive the phones, we're going to charge you $400 per phone that is missing.
I assume you have all the receipts.
Well, actually, they just have a label that you just pull off the sticky thing and you put it in a box. And you can put it in any UPS. But T-Mobile itself had the actual the
Got it. I got it,
numbers.
Mr. Benjamin.
Okay. So going along with the time and everything that we were together or whatever, I was going through graduation, contracts for basketball, trying to take care of everything I had to take care of. And I explained to Ms. Brenham that I was putting in a claim for the money that I owed, and it was going to take almost a month for the claim to actually go through T-Mobile. They're not just going to give me the money back without finding the phones. Okay, cool. So I get a call about 2 weeks from that time saying, hey, my mother closed the account, she paid the bill, you owe $1,700.
Well, a lot of that was for phone calls, too.
Well, the voice plan, I think, was about between $300 and $400 out of that $1,700.
Well, did you pay that part of it?
I paid $200 prior before that.
Why didn't you pay all of it?
I have no clue why I didn't pay it all.
You didn't pay any of it. According to you, your mother gave her $200 because she was complaining.
Well,
to your
no,
mother.
not actually. I sent the money to my mother because I was out of the country at the time. I couldn't send a check from out of the country.
Okay, but you only sent her a little part of it.
Of course, yes.
What do you mean, of course?
Well, we made an agreement that, I would pay $200 a month just because, I don't know.
Who did you make the agreement with?
Her mother.
Her mother?
Yes.
But it's her credit.
I don't know. I
Look,
guess she just took
Mr.
over.
Benjamin, I read your answer, and what your answer put succinctly is, you went to Germany for how long?
I was in Germany for 4 months.
Working?
Yes, it's a job.
Did you have a cell phone, by the way, while you were there?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Ah, that's the question that you didn't answer here in your answer, Mr. Benjamin.
Right.
Don't look down there.
Right.
Okay. She had turned off the cell phone. Your cell phone connection to her was over
Right.
when you went to Germany.
Right.
How'd you get a cell phone in Germany that had a chip that allows you to call the United States? That's a fancy phone. How did you get that? No, no, no. Don't think about it. Just give me the truth.
Yes, my mother. My mother got it for me out of the kindness of her heart.
Well, that's your mother's problem, because according to you, your mom says you always take a gift, never turn down a gift, right? So, Mr. Benjamin, this is what you have to do, sir. You've got a beef with T-Mobile, right?
Yes, I do.
You don't have beef with her.
I know. Well,
But she paid the bill. You have to get on the phone with T-Mobile, start writing letters to T-Mobile, all of that stuff, and say, listen, you were paid.
Right.
But you were supposed to get back to me with regard to the phones that I said I sent back to you.
But the problem is that the phone was in her name, so I can't call and say...
Sure you can. She's going to call and she's going to give you the authority to do that. You can do whatever you want, because you owe her $1,700.
Right, but they're not going to pay me the $1,700 for
They're going to give it to her.
How can they do that when she paid?
No, no, listen to me. Listen to me. If you are successful, then she will give you a letter saying you can take all the money, because you're going to give it to her.
Right.
Because you used the phone, you got the new Blackberries whenever they sent you back one of the refurbished ones, which, by the way, I really don't understand. If you buy a new phone, if it turns out to be a dud, why don't you get a new phone rather than a refurbished one? I send that out over the airwaves to T-Mobile and everybody else.
Right.
It's your problem, not her problem. You deal with it. You should have dealt with it before you went to Germany. You should have dealt with it from Germany.
Well, I actually tried, and the thing that I asked her not to do was to close the account.
Well, she had to do that. They were going to ruin her credit, sir. They can't wait for you.
It was still active. I was still using the phone.
They can't wait for you to pay this bill. The bill was outstanding, more than the $200 you sent to your mother.
Right.
Right. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,700. Go try to get your money back from T-Mobile. Thank you very much.
24-year-old Brandy Evans is suing Kathleen Fry and her ex-boyfriend, Patrick Leach, for damage to her car. Brandy claims Patrick was riding his bike when he crashed into her parked vehicle.
Ms. Fry, are you the neighbor of the plaintiff?
And not of the plaintiff, of the plaintiff's witness.
And this is your boyfriend?
Ex-boyfriend, yes.
How long has he been your ex-boyfriend?
Since about last November.
And how long was he your boyfriend?
About 18 years.
That took you a long time to decide he wasn't the right one. Huh?
Sometimes you don't think.
Was there any particular reason why you terminated the relationship?
We just weren't getting along anymore.
Did he drink a little bit?
No, he'd never drank.
Never?
Before we started going out, he drank, but he never drank during our relationship.
Now, you were riding a bicycle?
Yes, ma'am.
With your girlfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Where had you been riding?
We usually rode 10 to 15 miles a night, just around our neighborhood and just around our block and so on and so forth.
And at what time of the evening did you return to the house?
It was probably between 8 and 8:30 in the evening.
So it was dark?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you always ride at night?
Yes, we did. It was
have
mostly
lights
at night.
on your bikes?
No, we don't.
Are you supposed to?
Yes, we are.
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Do you wear a helmet?
Yes, I do.
For what?
Safety reasons, in case somebody pulls out in front of me and
Right.
Right.
That's why you have lights on bikes if you're going to be riding at night. And so tell me what happened, Mr. Leach.
Our street was very dark. It has no street lights. I was pedaling, and her car is the color of night. It blended in, and it was parked, if I could show you on the diagram, it was parked probably a little farther back, but it was, to me, it was illegally parked. And it was on a corner. I was pedaling, and I looked up, and next thing you know, under the tree, next thing you know, I hit the front end of the car.
Okay, so Mr. Leach, we are talking now about certain things that you can do nothing about, because as night follows day, that's science. And in science, it's going to get dark outside. So when you're driving a vehicle, what they do is when a vehicle is operating, they put lights on the car so that you can see where you're going after night falls, right? So it's not the night's fault that you hit the car.
No.
Now, cars can be painted in many colors. It's not the car's fault that it was painted the color of night, right?
Correct. Correct.
So it can't be the car's fault that it was that color. Now, how long do you think this big tree has been living on the corner?
I couldn't tell you.
10 years?
Since before he moved in.
Yeah.
The tree didn't move, right?
Correct.
So it can't be the tree's fault that you hit her car. And the last thing that you said was her car, you believe, was parked illegally.
True.
But the car didn't move.
Correct.
There was only one thing that was moving. Mr. Leach, that would be you.
I totally agree.
Now, Miss Evans, tell me, you were awakened to the alarm going off in your car?
No, we were watching a movie. I was over at my friend's house.
And what
happened? It was around 11 p.m., and I heard my alarm going off.
So the alarm did go off as a result of being hit?
Yes. So I walked out, and they weren't near my car. They were walking away from my car. And I walked down and looked at my fog light, and my fog light was broken on the ground. And I walked back up halfway to the driveway, and that's when Kathy stopped me.
Had you known her before that evening?
No.
So you never met her before?
No.
She walked up to you and said?
And said, we were riding our bikes, and my boyfriend hit your car. And I looked over at him, and he was laying on the grass with his bike.
That's not true.
And
shh, Mr. Leach. Shh, Mr. Leach, look at me.
And Kathy said she was going to run and go get her information, and that she did not want to go through the police. She did not want to go through insurance. That she wanted to pay cash. And she walked back over and said he had some to drink, and that here's her information to put estimates in her mailbox, and that she would get back to me. And she gave me her number. She gave me her work phone, her cell phone.
Miss Fry, did you write down your telephone number, your work number?
I gave her my business card.
What did you give her your business card for?
For the purpose of, I had walked over and explained that he had hit the car and that he was lying on the ground because he had hurt himself when the bike hit the car. And I said, I will get you the information and you can get estimates and the two of you can work it out. I brought her the information back over. I never stated that he was drinking because he wasn't. And I never stated that I would pay her cash because I am not the one that hit the car.
What do you want to say?
I was standing there and listened to her state that she would pay Brandy in cash to settle the matter.
Tell me your last name.
Curran.
How's Curran?
I've lived there approximately 6 years.
Okay. Mr. Leach.
Yes, ma'am.
There is no reason why Miss Fry should take responsibility for this.
Exactly.
So if the court were going to enter a judgment, it would have to be a judgment against you.
Correct.
So that, Miss Fry, you may sit down. Thank you. Now, sir, you're there all on your own. In 10 seconds, give me your best shot as to why you're not responsible for this.
I never said I was not responsible. I took the car. But what I am disputing is they brought over estimates for $1,400 for the car, which to me was a little outrageous. We told them to get another estimate in a local place. They've done work on our cars before, and they were more reasonable. They've probably given a reasonable rate. They never went there.
Mr. Leach, let me stop.
Sure.
A second. Is it that you don't like the amount of money that she's asking for because you believe it's excessive, or that you don't believe you're responsible?
The amount of money, and then we had an estimate for $1,400 and $1,600. Now it's $1,800.
Well, now she's going to show me the estimates.
I have
the photographs.
The first estimate that I gave them, that was for the $1,400. When I gave it to her, she asked me to go and get another one with their body, a place, and it shows it was only a month afterwards, not even a month after the accident, that I have for that quote.
Just a second. What was the name of the body shop where you wanted them to go?
Boulevard.
This is one of those from Boulevard?
Yes, and that's my third one.
Can I see it, please?
We never got that one.
We never got those.
I don't care whether you did or not. Now I have them. So am I correct? Boulevard gives you $621.72?
Mm-hmm. That was just the paint that they said. They didn't say anything about the hood. That is, I have pictures of my hood and where it's not aligned with the other side from where he fell on it. And
Your Honor, I did not fall on the hood.
I have your handlebar marks on my hood.
Well, there is damage to the hood. All right, anything you want to say?
I just, I want to know, she got an estimate from Boulevard, for just paint. Well, you know what? To me, if I'm going to get an estimate for the body work, I'm just not going to ask for paint for the $600 and something. I'm going to say, hey, it's just, I need the body work done. I don't understand that.
I went in and asked for an estimate, and that's what they gave me. I didn't ask them just to do paint.
Did you ask them for an estimate to fix it or to paint it?
To fix it. I said I needed it fixed.
The damage to this car can't be done for $600. She's got something wrong with the hood of the car that's going to have to be pulled out, painted if it's going to be done right. The $1,300 is a reasonable estimate. Okay, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,360.64. Thank you.
Thank you.
22-year-old Lindsay Allen is suing eBay seller 26-year-old Karen Stevens for selling her a fake Louis Vuitton purse. Karen insists the purse is real.
Miss Allen, you purchased what you believe to be an authentic designer bag on the internet from the defendant. I think you paid $250 for it. When it arrived, it was your belief that it was a fake.
Yes.
And you spent another $35 to have someone examine it. And you are going to be showing me, according to your complaint, that it was determined that the bag was, in fact, a fake.
Yes.
Ms. Stevens says there is no way that the bag was fake, and she's going to prove to me that the bag was authentic. Can I see the bag, please?
Yes.
Why did you want this bag, by the way?
I've always wanted an authentic Louis Vuitton purse. I did not know that what I was getting was a replica. I do have a real one here to compare.
I'd like to take a look at it, please.
The serial number on the authentic one is underneath the pouch.
This pouch?
Yeah, the interior pouch, right underneath it.
Oh, you would never know that unless you looked very carefully.
And there's no serial number on the replica as well. As you can see also, the stitching is uneven. In authentic Louis Vuitton purses, the stitching is usually close to perfect.
There are several things that are different.
Yes.
There is no authentication on the lock, and there is an authentication on the lock on this one. Have you ever examined a real one as compared to this one?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Stevens, what do you do for a living?
I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I sell on eBay.
Where did you get this bag from?
My mom.
Where did she get it from?
A good friend of hers. It was actually a gift.
Well, it's a fake.
I don't believe that it is.
Yeah, it is. Sure it is. Would you send it back to her? She's going to look at several things. First of all, she's going to look at the piping. She's going to look at the serial numbers inside. She's going to look at the lock. First, take a look at the lock on both. Take a look at the lock on the real one. Turn it over. One also has a serial number on the bottom. The one that you sold her does not.
Yes.
Now open up the real one. Open up the flap, and you'll see a serial number underneath the flap. See the serial number?
Yes.
Open up yours. See a serial number?
No, I do not.
Got it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You look like a very nice lady. She wants her money back. When did she call you and tell you that she wanted her money back?
She emailed me the purse saying that it was fake, and I said that I didn't believe that it was. And if she did believe that it was fake, I sent 7 different very detailed pictures to her of the purse that show the stitching. If she had any idea that it wasn't authentic or thought that it wasn't, I sent extra pictures.
Listen to me. You sent her the pictures for her to try to prove that it was a real purse.
Exactly.
But it's not.
But why did she not argue that if she thought that it was? Because I'm not a cheater or a stealer.
Now, I understand that, but she wanted her money back. And if you had said, listen, if you're dissatisfied with the purse, I'll give you your money back, we wouldn't be here today. But in order for her to prove to you that it was fake, she took it to somebody to authenticate it. Do you have the report? Can I see it, please?
Yes.
You want to sell things? That's what happens. I mean, if you don't know that something is authentic and you advertise it as a Louis Vuitton bag, you're advertising it as an authentic Louis Vuitton bag. Yes. Turns out that it is not an authentic Louis Vuitton bag. I can see that. I've shown you some examples of where you can look and see it. I don't think you're a dishonest lady. I think you thought perhaps she was mistaken. Maybe you thought she was trying to scam you and would send you back a different bag, which is what you say in your answer. In the meantime, the big bag goes back to the plaintiff. The little bag stays with the defendant, and she gets her money back plus the cost of the expert, $285. Thank you very much. You're two nice ladies.
Charnita Christopher is suing her former friend and child care provider, Vashni Dixon, for her share of money paid to Vashni by the state. Vashni is countersuing for unpaid child care fees.
Miss Christopher, Miss Dixon was a friend of yours.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
it is your claim that at some point she needed some assistance. You needed some assistance with child care, and the state was paying for your child care costs.
Yes, ma'am.
You engaged Miss Dixon to watch your children with the following arrangement, that she would share those child care responsibilities with your aunt, and then they would split the check. It is your claim that when Miss Dixon got the check, she kept the whole check for herself, and you want half the check so that you can give it to your aunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Dixon says that there was no aunt, that she watched the children, but that you wanted her to split the county check. You would keep half, and she would keep half, and she felt that that was very unfair since she had the responsibility of watching the children. She has a counterclaim, and her counterclaim is nonsense. Her counterclaim wants you to pay the difference between what the county paid for child care and what she thinks she deserves for child care, the overage, because that's what it says in the contract from the state. Well, that's not the contract you had with her, Miss Dixon.
When she told me, we made the agreement.
Miss Dixon, that wasn't your agreement that she was going to pay you extra.
She was supposed to pay me $4 an hour. The state was supposed to pay that to tell me that they wouldn't pay all of that. It's her responsibility to pay.
It's not her responsibility.
How is it not her responsibility?
Because I say so. Because that wasn't your contract with her. Now, how many children do you have?
3.
How long have you been receiving child care money from the state for the 3 children?
Approximately a year.
Starting when?
It started again March 27th of 06.
And where were you working in March?
I wasn't working. It was for me to be able to look for employment at that time.
Well, did you find employment?
I found employment July 3rd. I was hired at Glamour Shots.
So you're telling me from March 27th until July 3rd, the state was paying you to look for a job?
Yes.
To watch your children?
Yes, ma'am.
When did she start to babysit for you?
August 7th, 2006.
And where were you working at that time?
I wasn't working.
Well, what happened to the job that you started in July?
Oh, August, Glamour Shots. I'm sorry, Glamour Shots.
Are you still working there?
No, ma'am.
When did you stop working there? It's very easy to find out by calling them. When did you stop?
August 15th. I have my check stubs.
All right, so you worked there for a month?
Yes, ma'am.
And why did you leave there?
Because they weren't giving me enough hours.
Well, so you left that job because they weren't giving you enough hours, and you went to the situation where you weren't working at all?
Yes, ma'am. There was a lot of other issues with that job.
So the county wasn't really getting a great bang for their buck by paying for your 3 children for daycare while you're looking for a job, and you had a job for a total of 1 month when you quit because they weren't giving you enough hours. Something doesn't sound right there, Miss Christopher. So she started working August 7th, and now a week later you're not working. So what are you doing when she's watching your children?
Out looking for work.
What does that mean?
I have to go to the workforce center, and they work with me to help me look for work.
Well, how many days a week do you go to the center?
It could be 4, sometimes 5.
Could it be 3?
It depends on what my job counselor...
When did you go to work?
Where did I go to work?
When? First is when?
I haven't. I'm looking for work right now. My children are not in child care right now at all.
So she started to work on August 7th. And when did you stop working?
I left her house on September 4th, I believe.
So you were there for 4 weeks?
Yeah.
How many hours a day did you watch the children, or did you live in her house?
She'd leave around maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, and she wouldn't get back till like 8 o'clock at night.
What about this aunt? Do you know anything about an aunt?
I never heard anything about her aunt watching her kids before this.
Where's the aunt?
She's at home.
She's not here?
No.
Well, how do you expect to prove to me that somebody else babysat for your children?
I have the proof.
Show me. What kind of proof are you showing me?
Oh, it's the hours that my aunt kept the children. She typed this up. She has the license.
I don't accept that, Miss Christopher. That's hearsay.
Okay. Well, that's what I have.
Well, your case is dismissed. My dear, she got a check for watching your children You have no proof that somebody else watched your children? Ridiculous. Case is dismissed, that's all.
24-year-old Christopher Trammell is suing his stepfather-in-law, Orlando Moore, and his son, 16-year-old Kendall Barclay, for the cost to fix his Chevy Blazer.
Mr. Trammell, I assume it's this young man who is your wife's half-brother?
Yes.
And you're his father?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, this young man, whose name is?
Kendall,
came for a visit.
Yes.
Visiting his sister, and you opened your house and said, sure, he can stay with us. It was during a holiday period?
Well, the February recess.
And while he was there, without your permission, he took your car and he crashed it.
Yes.
You want his father to be responsible for the damage.
Yes, ma'am.
And his father said, you know that he's nothing but trouble and that you should have watched him more carefully.
Well...
That's his defense. Why don't you sit down for a moment, sir? I'll get to you in a minute. Kendall! Move over. Are your hands in your pockets?
No.
Perfect. How old are you?
16.
Do I make you nervous?
No.
It's unfortunate. I will try to change that. Why would your father say that you're trouble?
I am.
What do you mean you are?
Sometimes I make trouble.
You make trouble at home?
No.
Where?
On the streets.
But you've never been in trouble with the police?
No.
You're lucky. Now, why did you decide to go to visit your sister?
Because I wanted to spend time with my nephew.
I don't understand you when you're mumbling. Make believe you're outside talking to your friends.
I wanted to spend time with my nieces and nephews.
That's a good thing. How did you get there?
Chris picked me up.
Your sister's husband?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So he's a pretty nice guy?
Yeah.
So he's a pretty nice guy?
Yeah.
So he's a pretty nice guy?
No.
Yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Do you have a driver's license?
No.
What does that mean to you when you don't have a driver's license?
Can't drive.
Tell me about when you took his car.
Well, they were sleeping when I took their car.
They were sleeping, so it was late at night.
Yes.
Where were you going?
I wanted to ride up to Wegmans.
I don't understand a word you said.
I wanted to ride to Wegmans.
Wanted to ride to Wegmans. And where did you get the keys from?
They're in the entertainment system.
So you stole the keys?
Yes.
And you stole the car?
Yes.
And what happened?
I drove up to Wegmans and I came back.
I don't hear you.
I drove up to Wegmans. I was going to park the car because my brother, he parks in a certain spot.
I don't hear you.
I drove the car to Wegmans and I came back. And then I wanted to get in the driveway. So I was parked in the wrong spot, so I had to move it. I went and moved the car and then I took off. And then it hit the next door neighbor's house.
You hit the next door neighbor's house?
Yes.
What did you do?
I didn't do nothing, and the cops came. So then they asked me a few questions, and I answered them.
Now you can stand up. Does your son go to school?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he have a job?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
He is currently looking for employment.
Well, when was the last time he had employment?
He is 16 years old. There's only very few jobs in Rochester for a 16-year-old to do.
So let me ask you this question, sir. Who do you think is responsible for him?
To be honest, when Christopher came to my address and picked Kendall up, I figured he'd assume full responsibility.
Yes, he wasn't supposed to see that anything happened to him, but let's say that your son, while he was visiting with his sister and her husband, committed a burglary. Would that have been his fault?
Yes, ma'am.
No. 16-year-old boy who's almost as big as his father knows the difference between right and wrong, and one way or another, sir, you have to teach him a lesson. And what lesson is he learning from this whole process here? He wasn't arrested.
No.
So there were no repercussions from the justice system, right?
As far as I know,
so what
yes.
lesson do you think this whole process is teaching your son?
I think he's pretty much learned his lesson. That
Why? What has he had to do as a result of this?
He's gotten most of his privileges taken away.
What privileges did he have taken away?
No computer, no...
No computer. What else?
He has his PlayStation and iPod taken away from him.
Taking away someone's iPod, sir, is not exactly punishment for destroying this man's car.
See, Kendall has an ADDH situation.
So do 40% of the children, according to statistics in this country.
Well,
they don't steal cars. They
Oh,
don't
they
steal
do.
cars.
They do.
Yeah, so do a lot of people without ADHD steal cars. You know, don't give him an excuse, Mr. Moore. You give him an excuse for doing the wrong thing, that he's ADHD, and I guarantee you, you're going to be looking for trouble forever. Forever. ADHD has nothing to do with stealing cars. He wanted to go to a store. He took the car to go to a store. He knew he had no right to take the car to go to a store. That has nothing to do with ADHD.
Well,
that has to do with doing the wrong thing.
That's the frame of mind. That's why he takes the medication, so it keeps his mind focused off of things like this.
I have 11 grandchildren, sir. I reared and helped rear 5 children. I know all about this ADHD stuff. And I know all about parents who will make excuses for their children's bad behavior and ascribe it to a learning disability. So if that's, believe me, he was focusing on getting the keys and going to the store. Believe me. You're going to pay him, and he's going to pay you. And then there is a reaction to his action. And I guarantee you, sir, that's as good as any medication he takes.
So there's...
Any medication he takes.
So there's no responsibility on his side at all?
It would be different if he threw him the keys and said, take the car and go to the store.
I wasn't there.
He just told me what happened. He waited until they went to sleep, and then he went to the entertainment center where the keys were kept, and he took the keys. He told me that. Not him. You make excuses for him, sir. You're going to find yourself before a judge much more frequently than the one time you're going to appear before me. And you give him the excuse of having ADHD for excuse for bad behavior, you are committing a terrible... It's an excuse. One thing had nothing to do with the other with regard to his taking that truck that day. And if you give him an excuse, you are parentally doing him a terrible disservice. I, however, am doing him a service. Because unless you want to be out $4,500 yourself, what you're going to do is you're going to have him get a job, and every penny that he earns he's going to give you until the $4,500 is paid off. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,500.
Francesca Lane says her son's ex-girlfriend, Kristen Hess, and her mom, Susan, owe for medical bills resulting from Kristen being rushed to the emergency room.
Ugh, what ridiculousness. I mean, I just don't understand what apparently are intelligent people getting themselves involved in somebody else's mess. Miss Lane, according to you, you allowed this young lady, would that be you? The child of this young lady over here, to move into your house because she was the girlfriend of your 15-year-old son. Nothing could be dumber. Let's start out with that.
I agree, Your Honor.
Perfect. Then we have no problem.
In hindsight, it was a mistake.
The dumbest thing, and people do it all the time, seemingly intelligent people. A parent can't control their child. A parent says, I'm just as happy if some stranger takes her into the house, or some stranger takes him into the house. And reasonably intelligent people say, well, maybe I can fix this problem, and bring them into their home, which is probably a very calm, reasonable place to live, and all of a sudden there's turmoil. In any event, having gotten that off my chest for the rest of the world to hear, don't take somebody else's problem children into your house. She came to live with you.
Yes.
And there was an episode where you believed that she required immediate medical assistance.
Yes.
She was taken to a hospital emergency room. You're responsible for the bill, and you want her mother to pay that bill.
Correct.
Then there are charges and counter charges of harassment, which I'm really not interested in, because I think that that's a bunch of nonsense, because if this bill had been paid, we wouldn't have any harassment. So I'm turning to Miss Hess. Why did you allow your 17-year-old daughter to move out of your house?
Well, number one, she was rebelling. I said, do you want to take your little wings and fly and test me on this, being 17 years old and working 2 jobs and trying to maintain? Then you go right ahead.
Just a second. Who's working 2 jobs, her or you?
I was.
Okay.
And I tried to talk to this lady, but it wasn't possible.
Just a second. So you told her to get out?
Well, she took it upon herself
No,
to
just a second.
time.
I'm asking you whether you told her to get out.
At the time, when she was yelling and screaming about it, I said, well, if you think that's what you need to do, Chris, then you go right ahead. And then you're going to find out.
You're talking about your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
You said to your daughter, get out.
17. Rebelling. Not no.
Did your mother tell you to get out of the house?
No.
What did she say?
I said I wanted to go live with Francesca.
And your mother said what?
She said, if that's what you want to do, then go.
Your Honor.
What?
The story that I was receiving was that Kristen was having extreme abuse issues with her mother.
From whom?
From her mother.
From whom were you receiving this story?
Both Kristen and my son.
All I want you to do is tell me what Kristen said to you, not your son. Where is your son?
He does not want any further...
He's not here.
Correct.
Fine, then you can't tell me anything that your son had to say, only what Kristen had to say to you. Tell me what she said about the abuse she was having from her mother.
She said that there was physical abuse. She also stated that her mother had some mental issues and that there was some extreme situations regarding that.
Is that what you told her?
No. I
What did
never
you tell
talked to
her?
her about anything.
That's not true, Your Honor.
I didn't.
Well, what reason did you give her for wanting to come and live with her?
She wanted me to be a nanny.
Nah, that's ridiculous. That's a lot of baloney.
I don't need a nanny.
Just to say, that's a lot of baloney.
Her husband was going to Iraq, and she said she wanted me to move in to help with Carly.
That's baloney. You just told me that you had this discussion with your mother, and your mother said you were rebelling, and you were talking back to her, and you were difficult. And you said, I want to go move in with my boyfriend. And she said, if that's what you want to do, go. So don't tell me she offered you a job as a nanny, because that's ridiculous.
I think that's what it ended up being when she got there. Then
Well, when she got there, she may have said, listen, can you help me out with the children or the child or whatever it is? That's fine. I mean, she's living there. She's supporting her. I assume you gave her no money, right?
No, of course not.
Of course. Well, that's not of course not. It's not of course not. You told her to go. That doesn't mean you're absolved from the responsibility of supporting her. She's under 18. Do you understand?
Right.
Fine. Okay. So, when she got there, she said, listen, you're here, you're eating my food, you're living under my roof, you're using my gas and electric and water and telephone, you can help out with the kids. But that's not why you went. Now, tell me about this episode that landed you in the hospital. You had a what?
Urinary tract infection.
From too much sex?
No.
From what?
I get them, it runs in my family. We get them really easily.
Oh. Have you had that problem when you lived with your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Has your mother ignored the problem?
No, ma'am.
She's taken care of the problem.
Yes, ma'am.
How has she taken care of the problem?
She would take me to the doctor.
And how often did she do that?
Every time I would get sick.
You know why she did that?
Because she cares.
No, because she cares. I hope she cares. But she did that because the law requires that she take care of her minor child's medical conditions. Otherwise, she's guilty of neglect. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Now, when you were living with Miss Lane and you got this urinary tract infection, tell me about what you did. Did you scream? Were you crying?
Yeah, I was crying.
Were you crying because you told her you were in pain?
Yes.
What did you say to her?
I said my stomach hurts really bad.
So what did Miss Lane do?
She wanted to take me to the hospital.
And what did you say?
I said I wanted to wait for my mom to get off work to take me.
Is that what you told her?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what she told you?
No.
What did she say?
In fact, Kristen had spent the majority of the day with her mother, and her mother had gone into work late in the evening.
You mean it wasn't hurting when you were with your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell your mother about it?
Yes.
And what did she do?
She wanted to take me.
What did she do?
Nothing.
Right. She went to work.
Exactly.
Yes. I was
And you went to work. And you went back to Miss Lane's house.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, if you have a history of urinary tract infections and you know that it becomes a problem and it's chronic, why didn't you take the day off from work and take her to the doctor?
I told her I was going to take her the next day to doctor's care. We didn't have the money for the emergency room. I said, drink water and cranberry juice through the night until I can get to you because we didn't have the money to take off. And I said, I'll take you tomorrow, first thing.
Then you're neglecting your child. Why didn't you take her that day?
Because I had to work.
That's not an excuse when your child is sick.
She couldn't drink water and cranberry juice. I've done that for years.
An excuse. Well, evidently it didn't work.
This one here kept calling, harassing me at work. Tried to run my daughter off the road.
Just a second.
Going to school. I said, Kristen, let me help you. Mom, I can handle it. Mom, I can handle it. It's been nothing that's been like a fatal attraction.
What are you blabbering about? Now, your daughter spends the day with you. She tells you that she's got the urinary tract infection back, which she's had before, which you know is chronic, which she says runs in your family. And you say to her, go home to Miss Lane's house, drink water and cranberry juice, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I said, drink water and cranberry till I can get you there tomorrow, because I was at work.
Till tomorrow. What did I say that was wrong?
I was at work day and night that day.
Who cares? Your child is sick. You're not supporting her. How long had you been living with Miss Lane before you got this urinary tract infection?
Maybe not even a month.
And in the month's period of time, how much money did you give Miss Lane from your mother to cover your expenses?
I only paid like $15. The agreement was $15 a week for a few
How
weeks.
much money did you get from your mother to give Miss Lane to take care of your expenses was my question.
None. None.
You have other children at home?
I have 4 children.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
How old are they?
16 and 18.
So you have a 16-year-old
I have
at
a
home.
16-year-old in Virginia with her father.
So you don't have any children at home?
She lives with me.
She wasn't living with you when she lived with Miss Lane.
I didn't want her to go over there. She shouldn't have let her go over there. And it turned into a harassment thing with this lady.
Miss Hess, that's a lot of excuses. If your daughter spent the day with you, day before this incident occurred, then you should have said to her, sweetheart,
I was not.
You're not going
spending
home.
the day with her that day. I was at work.
Oh. How much is the bill?
Your Honor, I have one bill for $13.86, a physician bill for $2.11, and I also took care of all her prescription bills, which came to right around $70.
But Your Honor.
Go.
Can we show you on the paperwork where this one
She
went
told
there?
me that she wanted to foster me. She wanted to adopt me, put me on her health insurance, her driving insurance, wanted to make me part of the family, everything. She even wrote it on the paper that she was my foster mom, told me not to worry about the bill, that she would take care of it until Colby broke up with me, and now she's trying to get me for the bill.
Went back and changed
You
the paper.
are an idiot. And that's also probably congenital. Listen to me very carefully. Your mother is responsible until you are 18, which you are not, for your food, clothing, shelter, medical care, and all other necessaries, period. End of discussion. Unless you are an emancipated minor, which I haven't heard you went to court to become an emancipated minor. Do I make myself clear? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $16.67. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Benjamin Graham says former friend and landlord Lark Bowman stole belongings from his home when he went to jail.
Mr. Graham, according to the complaint that I read, you rented an apartment from Miss Bowman.
Yes.
When did you rent the apartment from her?
The summer of 2004.
July or August?
I'm not sure of the date, Your Honor.
When did he rent the apartment, Miss Bowman?
In the fall time of 2004.
Do we have a month?
Yeah, it was in November, actually.
Does that sound right?
That sounds about right.
And then, according to you, Mr. Graham, you were incarcerated for a period of time, and you claim that Miss Bowman stole some of the property that was in your apartment when you were there. Miss Bowman says she did not do that. She says that your friend Gail, with whom you are currently living, who lives in the apartment complex, she took your property. She has no knowledge of your property. She did take a couple of things that she says she had loaned to you when you moved in. Those were bookshelves.
Correct.
And what else?
And a desk.
And a desk. Mm-hmm. Those are the two things that you indicate
I
here.
had many other things there that belonged to me, but I did not take them.
Bookshelves and a desk were the only two things that you removed from the apartment.
Correct.
Now, Mr. Graham, when were you incarcerated?
On the 22nd of May.
How long were you in jail?
40 days.
For what?
Drug paraphernalia possession.
What items do you claim that Ms. Bowman took from your apartment?
Couch, 2 couches, bedroom set, laptop computer, a variety of miscellaneous electrical items. I'm an electrician.
Like what?
Lights, ceiling fans, outlets.
You mean that weren't in the walls? That
Not
were
in the
just
walls.
there?
Yes, just there. Yeah.
So, tools of your trade. What else?
I had a variety of things that I had a list of, and unfortunately I didn't bring the list with me, but it was...
All right, Mr. Graham, what proof do you have that Miss Bowman, who denies that she took these things from your apartment, what proof do you have that she took them?
Well, besides the fact that my friend and neighbor was there when it was being taken, I also have some photos, Your Honor, that the neighbor who lived in the apartment across the driveway happened to take.
I'd like to see them.
Yes.
Who has a blue truck?
Nobody I know.
The truck is purple, Your Honor.
Purple truck.
My brother.
I'm going to ask you some questions. I better get a reasonable answer. Your last name is?
Bowman.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 39 years old.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a painter.
Of houses?
Houses. I do maintenance. My sister owns rental properties.
So you work for your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you employed on an annual, or does she pay you periodically?
Periodically, hourly.
How long have you worked for your sister?
Here in the last 4 months.
Prior to that?
I worked as a forklift operator, supervisor.
You took your purple truck to Mr. Graham's house that he was renting, and you and your sister removed certain property. Is that correct?
My sister had called me at the end of May.
I have pictures. I just want you to know that I have pictures. So let's not play with each other.
Yes, ma'am.
I asked you a specific question. I said, did you go to the house and remove certain property that was in the house that Mr. Graham was renting?
The property that belonged to my sister.
The house that Mr. Graham was renting?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
What property did you remove, sir?
There was a desk.
Be very careful. Desk.
Yeah.
Go
Shelf.
ahead.
Old lamp.
A lamp? What else?
There was a few boxes, miscellaneous boxes.
Boxes. Say nothing, Miss Bowman. Boxes. What about tables, sir? Did you remove any little tables? Did you remove any little tables, sir?
Not that I recall, I didn't. Gail was there with her truck, too. In the process,
I'm talking about a purple truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
That would be yours.
Yes, it would.
What color is your truck?
Brown.
Did you remove any upholstered pieces from the house, Mr. Bowman?
No,
you know what upholstered pieces are?
Rugs, upholstery.
I didn't say rugs. Rugs aren't upholstered pieces, sir. I'm talking upholstered pieces, usually chairs and sofas.
There was one sofa.
One sofa. Let's just get there. One sofa.
One sofa.
All right. So you removed a sofa. Now, there were some boxes. How many boxes were there, Mr. Bowman?
I would say 2 to 3.
And with your hands, show me how big the boxes were, sir.
I would say the boxes were that size.
What did you do with the boxes?
The boxes got thrown in the garbage along with the rest of the kitchen utensils, all the food that was spoiled and rotten.
Where did you throw them?
Right there in the alley, in the garbage.
I'm asking you about the things that you put in your truck, sir.
Yeah, them items, them boxes, all was garbage. We were cleaning the apartment out to rent it out to another tenant while Mr. Graham had been in jail.
What did you do with the sofa, sir?
The sofa went down to our uncle's house, who said that he was going to use the sofa, which was...
Just answer my questions. I asked you what you did with the sofa. Sofa you brought to your uncle's house. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you do with the lamp?
The lamp was also with my uncle.
2 little end tables. Those go to your uncle's house, too, with the lamp?
Yes, Your Honor.
See how easy that was, Mr. Bowman?
Yes, ma'am.
Sit down. You got my drift.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
I'm 10 paces ahead of you, Miss Bowman. Your brother has just indicated, marginally, that your uncle has been the recipient of largesse in a sofa, end tables, and a lamp that we know about. That is not a desk and bookshelves. We understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
These photographs don't show a laptop, computer, fans, tools, and other stuff. But, Miss Bowman, you took more out of his house than the desk that you let him borrow and the bookshelves. You know how I know that? Because he told me so. You lied when you told me that the only thing you removed from the house was a desk and bookshelves.
I didn't stay the entire time, so I don't know what else was there.
You lied when you told me that the only thing you removed were desks and bookshelves. He works for you. He is your employee. Anything that he did is attributable to you. He is your agent.
Gail, when I went in, Gail said, I'm going to pack up all Benjamin's stuff. Whatever's left there, I would have to go out to the dump. We moved 2 couches out to the dump.
Listen to me very carefully, madam. That could have been something that you told me. That you took, I'm speaking, that you took other items from the house, but you took them from the house because they were not being used. Your uncle would have put them to good use, so you took them because he was in jail and Gail told you to. You could have told me that. That's not what you told me. You told me that the only thing you removed from the house was a desk and bookshelves. And that, madam, was not true.
I didn't witness them taking anything else. I just asked about the shelf and the desk. And I've got pictures of Benjamin's car.
I'm going to explain something to you from my perspective.
Okay.
You're not telling the truth. Now, I could say that in many different ways. You see how dry-mouthed you get when you lie? When you lie, your mouth gets really, really dry, Miss Bowman. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all. Step out.
Maria Prieto claims her son's former friend, James Alfter, started a fire in her home while trying to grow marijuana.
Ms. Prieto, you rented a house to the defendant.
That's correct.
And it is your claim that he is responsible for a fire in your home that resulted in damage. Some of the damage was covered by insurance, but a great deal of it was not covered by insurance, and you want him to pay the balance.
That's correct.
Your out-of-pocket expenses. Mr. Alfter? Mm-hmm. Is that the way you pronounce your name?
Yes, ma'am.
You look petrified. Are you scared of me?
No.
You should be.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mr. Alfter says that your homeowner's insurance should have covered whatever losses there were. He wasn't doing anything wrong, and it was just an accident. That's your defense.
Yes.
Your Honor, I disagree.
Just. How old are you, sir?
20.
When did you move out of your home?
I've been on my own since I was about 18.
And how have you been taking care of yourself?
I work.
For whom?
Family business.
What kind of business?
Construction. Do concrete work.
Whose business is it?
It's my grandfather's.
Who else works there?
The crew, my dad, my brothers.
So it's a big business?
Yeah.
It's a lucrative business?
Yeah.
How much? Yes, try yes.
Yes.
How much do you get paid?
$30 an hour.
And you work 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 5 days a week?
40-hour weeks.
So you've got money in the bank?
I'm all right.
What?
Said I'm all right. Yes.
You have a car?
Yes.
Shape? Do you work out?
Yes.
You work out at home or in a gym?
The gym.
You have a gym membership?
Yes.
I ask you all these questions, sir, because I'm trying to find out a little bit about you. Because this complaint says, Mr. Alfter, that the fire that started in Miss Prieto's house, on what date?
September the 12th.
On what date did he move into the house?
He moved in July 1st.
Was started because in your bedroom, right?
In master bedroom, correct.
People usually sleep in the master bedroom, right?
Yes.
How many bedrooms were there in the house?
5.
How many people were living in the house?
Just 2.
You and who else?
Me and my roommate.
Male or female?
Male.
So that those were 2 bedrooms. You don't spend the night with your roommate, right? You each have your own bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But I guess you didn't want you or your roommate to get the master bedrooms, because then it would be unequal, so that you each stayed in other bedrooms.
Yes.
And you were using your master bedroom to grow marijuana. You actually hadn't brought in the plants yet, according to the complaint and the answer, but it was all set up with a whole bunch of lights, right?
Yes, there's equipment.
I mean, you weren't planning on shooting a film in there, were you?
No.
You were going to grow marijuana.
Yes.
What were you going to do with it when you grew it?
Well, I have anxiety, and I was going to try to get my card, cannabis card.
You have anxiety?
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Your parents are alive?
Yes.
Did they know you were coming here today?
Yes.
Did they know that 10 million people were going to be watching you today?
Yes.
Did they offer you any warning, sir?
Yes.
And I know that it's not relevant to the case, but I, because I am a mother, would like to know what your parents said to you.
They told me I better learn my lesson.
Both of them?
Yes.
Sounds like my kind of people. Who do you expect to pay for these damages that weren't covered by Miss Prieto's insurance as a result of your lunacy in trying to start a marijuana farm in her house?
Myself.
Right. So why didn't you just pay her, sir? Why did you force her to come here? No, I mean, I know that she looks lovely and she appears to be a very nice lady, but why didn't you just say, I'm really sorry, I acted like an idiot, I'm 20 years old, I'm not fully grown up yet. You know, just help me out here. It'll never happen again. I'm going to cut my hair so I can see. You know, all of those things.
The sum, that amount that she wanted was pretty high. I thought the insurance would have covered it, but I was going to pay the deductible.
Yeah, but the insurance company didn't, for instance, pay for all the landscaping around the house that was singed.
But when I moved in the house, the land or the landscaping wasn't too caught up.
May not have been too caught up. What about the fact that you didn't have the use of her house for a while?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, I know, that's my fault.
So who should pay for that?
Myself.
Yes, ma'am. Can I see the bills, please?
Sure. And I have pictures also.
Should have listened to your parents, Mr. After. Your father's a pretty tough guy?
Yeah.
Are you using your real name today, sir?
Yes.
Is your father's last name the same as yours?
Yes.
Look what you did to her house. Bird, look what he did to her house. You planned on smoking an awful lot of weed, sir, for your anxiety. Why don't you go to a therapist?
I don't know.
Well, I would try a therapist before I would start farming again. Who helped you with all this, sir?
I did it myself.
What about your roommate?
No, well, he helped a little bit.
Was he going to be your partner?
No.
What does he do for a living?
He works.
For whom?
He does construction, too.
For your father?
No. No.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Please.
Okay, as far as all that equipment he purchased, and it was worth over supposedly $6,000, and he didn't have money to pay the rent. So he had money to go out there and buy all that, plus, you know, start his little lab thing. But on the other hand, he's making $30 an hour, and he could have just stepped up to the plate and said, I'm going to pay you. Even payments. I said, can you make payments? And he's like, yeah, I will. Never followed through.
He's very anxious because he's not smart. And unless he gets smarter, he's going to remain anxious. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Say sorry.
Sorry.
Not to me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000, that's all.
25-year-old Leah Miller is suing her ex-roommate, 21-year-old waitress Angelica Simpson, for her share of the furniture purchased for their apartment.
Miss Miller, you and Miss Simpson were friends and roommates for a while. You claimed that when she moved out, she took half the furniture in the apartment that you had both purchased on a credit card.
Correct.
You're stuck with the credit card, and she took half the furniture.
Correct.
Ms. Simpson says she did not take half the furniture.
Correct.
She only took a bed, bed, and she left items there that are worth far more than the bed that she took. Now, when did you move in together?
February of 2005.
Was it a one-year lease?
It was actually 15 months.
And when did you move out?
I left the last weekend in January.
And that was by agreement?
Correct.
When did you purchase the furniture?
February of 2005.
What did you purchase?
She purchased a bedroom set. I purchased a bedroom set.
When you say she purchased a bedroom set and you purchased one, were they purchased on two different credit cards or one credit card?
No, they did a joint account for both of us. So we were both liable for it.
Okay. Continue.
I also purchased a living room set, and she purchased her bedroom set, which included a bed, a dresser, an end table, a mattress. I purchased the same thing, plus a living room set, which included a couch, a coffee table, an ottoman, and a love seat.
Okay, go ahead.
One night, I came home, and I saw her and her friends playing quarters on my brand new coffee table. I confronted her about it.
When you say you purchased the living room furniture,
yes,
were you jointly paying the bill with her?
We had separated her cost from my cost, and we came up with an agreement that she would pay me $60 a month for her portion, and then I would pay the rest.
She only has responsibility for the bedroom furniture.
Correct.
And that's all that you're suing for.
Well, also, as the time went on, as we were living together, I found things missing from my room.
I don't care about things missing from your room.
Well, I had to purchase a lock to put on there, and I came home with her playing games on my...
Listen to me. I don't care if you had to put a lock on your room. I read it. You had to put a lock on your room for $2?
It was actually 15. Yeah.
In the scheme of things, you're talking about nothing.
Well, I had things missing from my room. Shirts, underwear I had missing from my room.
Good. I'm not bothering with that.
Yeah. Okay.
You had other people living there, other people staying there, other people staying over. Don't bother me with nonsense. You hear about furniture.
Well,
Don't throw in the kitchen sink to a lawsuit because judges get irritated, especially this one. Okay. How much was your bedroom furniture?
The whole set together was around $1,300. It was like $1,300 and some change. Actually, Your Honor, I have the evidence that hers was $1,412. That would be including the tax, probably.
$1,412. And how much of that did you pay, Miss Simpson?
I started paying her when I moved out. Like I said, I left a TV there that I had purchased for $500. There's also entertainment center, dishes, mirrors, things of that nature that were there that I had left there that I didn't take.
Just a second. Did you have, Miss Simpson, any agreement?
Yes.
Listen, you're not letting me finish my sentence. Did you have an agreement with Miss Miller that in lieu of paying Bill $1,412, you were going to leave items in the apartment?
No.
Then I'm not interested in what you left.
But that's where I was going with this. I had moved out of the apartment and had paid her $55 for so-on months. Then
just a second.
You talk
very.
Didn't start. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
You paid her $55 a month for how many months?
It was for 6 months.
Okay.
No.
Shh, just a second. $55 a month for 6 months.
Yes.
Okay, that would be $330.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Then I'm a waitress, so I make all my money in tips, and I was paying her in cash. A incident arose with my mom when she pointed out that it was both my name and Miss Miller's name on the contract. So if I was paying her the money, how would I know that she was paying it to More Furniture? So I went into More Furniture and wanted to separate my name for her name on the account. They told me I was not allowed to do that.
Correct.
And that if we didn't pay off the money by the date with no interest, we would have to pay all of the back interest. When I brought this up to her, she did not want to give me receipts for the back payments, nor she had also moved out of the state and had given me a P.O. box where I could send her money, but I wasn't getting anything in return for paying her money. So my agreement was, well, if you're not...
What do you mean your agreement?
Or my side of it was, if you're not going to be proving to me that I'm paying you and give me a copy of the statement, then I will pay the money directly to More Furniture, but not to you.
So
you don't need to be the middleman.
Did you do that?
No, because she hasn't been making the payments. They told me that...
Don't tell me what they told you.
Okay.
Do you have your statement?
Yeah, I have all the statements right here.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Here's the statement.
Sorry. How much money, if any, did she give you after she moved out?
$320.
No, she's making the payments.
Well, and this is my issue is, like you said, my furniture and her furniture is together, and there wasn't a minimum payment. So when or if it's not paid off, it's still gonna hurt my credit. That's what I'm saying. I have no problem paying the furniture. That's not the issue. I will pay the furniture and More Furniture. It was contacting Leah to make the payment.
But right now it's more than $1,412 because right now they've added interest.
Right.
Right.
But they won't separate us from each other. That's why.
So there's just a second. Well, she's paying something. You're paying nothing.
Sure. No, and I understand that. But
but you have to pay something, madam. Where are you sleeping?
Well, I have a house.
You're sleeping on the bed.
Yes.
So you have to pay something.
I understand that. But I have an agreement with More Furniture to pay the furniture.
I don't see that. Where are you standing there all by yourself with a big smile? Where is the agreement that you have with More Furniture?
I can't get a copy of it because my name and her name's on it without her permission.
Just a second. So how can you have an agreement without a copy of the contract?
Well, that would be the original contract.
No.
Okay.
$1,412 less $320 is $1,092.
Can I say something?
Sure.
In the months that I have been paying it, I've had to pay extra, and I was working 2 jobs. I know it's $60.
That's good for you.
But I have had back payments and all this stuff that I've had to come up with.
Good. That's what happens when you act stupid and take out a joint credit card with somebody. She owes you $1,092. And as soon as you receive that money, you will sign an agreement with her that the court will prepare that you are totally indemnifying her against any claim by Miller Furniture for this furniture, and they can deduct forthwith from your salary or your income tax refund, if any. Okay. You do work, don't you?
Yes.
Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,092. Wait around to sign the contract. Thank you.
Marsha Lambert claims her mother's neighbor, Tammy Kedward, owes for spray painting vulgarities onto her car and punching her in the face. Tammy claims Marsha was sleeping with her husband. She is countersuing for emotional distress.
Miss Lambert, you were having a romantic relationship with the defendant's husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
I assume this was the husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
This was about a year ago?
A little over a year, yes, ma'am.
Miss Kedward lost it with you one day, came to where you were staying, and assaulted you.
Yes, Your Honor.
She admits that she assaulted you. She also admits that she pled guilty to a simple assault, and she received a fine. Her defense to your action for damages for both your medical bills and your pain and suffering is that you weren't injured. She is counterclaiming for her medical bills, she says, because you've caused her a lot of stress. When did you meet Miss Kedward's husband?
About July 9th of 2005.
Where?
At my mother's house.
What relationship does he have with your mother?
They're the next door neighbors to my mom.
Were they both living together at the time?
Yes, they were.
Well, when did you start a relationship with Mr. Kedward?
After he told me that he had asked Tammy for a divorce.
But they were still together?
Sort of, kind of.
They were still living under the same roof?
Yes.
Big mistake on your part. Big. When did you start the relationship?
What exact date?
Yeah.
That it turned romantic?
Yes.
Was August 28th of 2005.
So it didn't take long. Now, when did Miss Kedward assault you?
On August 31st.
Tell me about it.
I was over visiting my mother. My car was parked in the back driveway. She came over and spray painted my car with some obscenities and bright orange paint. I saw her do it. We went back inside to call the police. She knocked on the front door, asked me to come outside. My mother came outside with me. She was yelling all kinds of profanities. And
That's not true.
And I was standing between her and my mother tried to explain some stuff to her, and I was looking at my mother. She reached over, grabbed the back of my hair, yanked, jumped on top of me, punched me, blood went everywhere. Meanwhile,
punched you where?
In the nose, and then punched me again in the cheek. Meanwhile, my mother managed to pull her off of me, and my 82-year-old grandmother was standing on the porch calling the police.
And you were arrested?
No.
Taken into custody?
No.
Did you press charges?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Miss Kedward, why don't you tell me what happened on the 31st of August?
I drove up from work. I got out of the car, and she came out of her mother's house and said
That is a
something.
lie, Your Honor.
Listen to me. I cut her off when she interrupted you. Don't speak until she's finished. Go ahead.
I got out of the car, and she came out of the front door and said something that I didn't understand what it was that she said. Nevertheless, she said something. And I just went inside, and I called my husband, told my husband that she was saying something to me.
But you didn't know what?
I didn't know what. It was something.
Well, why would you, just a second, Miss Kedward, why would you call your husband if she said something that you didn't understand?
Because I had found out 3 days prior that there was something going on between them.
Okay, did you confront your husband with it?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
He told me the truth. He told me that they were having a relationship, but that it was more as a friend relationship, that he didn't say that it was not intimate. He just told me that basically they had been doing a lot of talking on the phone.
So when you came home on the 31st and you claim Miss Lampert said something to you, called your husband, and your husband said what?
He said, look, I don't know what's going on. Why don't you just go over there and talk to her about it, and y'all figure it out, and then you call me.
Is that what you said to her? Why don't you just go over there and ask her? Just that's either a yes or no.
Yes.
That was the first time that I ever thought of going over there.
So your cheating husband tells you to go over to the woman's house and to talk it out with her.
Yes.
And you'd listen to him.
Well, it's not that I listened to him. It's more that I thought, go over there. Sounds like a great idea. Why don't I just go over there and find out exactly what she said? And it was probably not the greatest decision in the world. But
well, first thing that you did, you went over and you sprayed her car because that you paid for, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you painted her car before you went to ask her.
Correct.
What she had said that you didn't hear.
Right.
And then what happened?
I went over and
I sprayed her car.
I sprayed her car, went back inside and...
Back inside where?
My house.
What happened to speaking to her and about finding out what happened?
That was after.
So then you came out again, worked up a really good mad.
I was infuriated, to say the least.
Fine. So you came out.
I had asked her numerous times, very nicely, please leave my husband alone.
Why didn't you ask him?
I asked him.
So, and what did he say?
She was the instigator.
Stand up. How tall are you?
6'3".
How much do you weigh?
260.
What do you do for a living?
Mechanic.
Strong?
I guess so.
Can you walk around?
Yes.
You can walk away from her, can't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Sit down. Get what I mean? Shh. Get what I mean?
Yes, ma'am, I do. And
listen, there's only one person that owes you the responsibility and the respect and has taken a vow.
You're exactly right.
That's him.
You're right.
Not her.
I felt like if she had any compassion or any feeling that she would have backed off and she would have had respect, at least for my child.
He's supposed to have respect for your child.
I understand that. I truly believe that he did make a bad decision.
Right. But so why did you go over? So you went over there, you assaulted her, and you lost it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, then you have to suffer for that. Okay, Ms. Kedward, what kind of consequence did the criminal justice system impose when you pled guilty to assault?
I had a fine of $341 and a Class C misdemeanor.
Tell me about the surgery that you had 3 months later.
I had actually 2 surgeries to try to correct. I was having trouble breathing through the right side of my nose.
Can I see the medical report?
Yes,
Your Honor?
Yeah.
She told my husband, he asked her the next day after the assault, "Are you okay?" And she told him, "It's no big deal. The same thing happened to me about a year ago when a girl hit me in a bar."
Okay.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Just a second. Let's say that's true. What difference does it make?
So what's to say if she had any surgeries that it wasn't to correct what had happened then?
It's possible it was. That doesn't leave you. That doesn't. Shh, quiet. That doesn't let you off the hook.
I understand.
She doesn't have to sue for any medical expenses. She can just sue for pain and suffering.
I understand.
Good. Okay, so the first study date in the emergency room was September 1st, and it did say previous surgical changes are noted. Okay, so you had previous surgeries in your nose. Is that right?
From 92.
Okay, good. Now, after this happened on August 31st, did you continue a relationship with Mr. Kedward?
Yes, I did.
For how long?
It actually ended August 1st of 2006.
I don't think that's true, Your
Yeah,
Honor.
that's a bunch of bull.
Now, you were at my mother's house.
Shh, listen to me. Whether it lasted 9 months or 10 months or 12 months, it doesn't make any difference. It lasted beyond that. Was Mr. Kedward living with his wife during that time?
He went back to her the end of November of 2005.
Okay, but you continued the relationship with him months after that.
Right.
Not smart. What was he telling you all this time?
Just that he wasn't sure what he wanted and that they had a lot to work out if it was going to work and that he still loved me and he always would.
Well, Miss Lambert, why did you continue the relationship with him?
Yeah. It's not the first time she's done this. I'm sorry.
Takes 2 to tango.
Yes, ma'am.
His feet work in both directions. If he's back with you and sweet-talking her, that's not a good thing.
The thing about it is, Your Honor, you say I'm strong physically. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. You know, what about mentally when you have a woman like this calling you all the time and not leaving you alone? Yay. Hey.
You don't really want an answer to that question, sir.
Well.
You don't want an answer to that question, Mr. Kedward.
When I asked Miss Lambert to leave my husband alone, my words to her were, "For God's sakes, Marcia, I live next door to your mother. Please just stop."
She used very bad judgment.
She told me that she would be living next door to her mother.
Miss Kedward.
That's a lie.
She used very bad judgment, especially after he came home in November.
He never really left home.
Don't tell me he never really left home. Stop me seasick. Still.
Yes, ma'am.
He exercised very bad judgment. What he's trying to tell me is he may be strong physically, but mentally he's mush. That's just an excuse. What he's trying to say is, how can I withstand the wiles of Jezebel? That's ridiculous. If
That
you
was
bought it,
not what I
quiet.
was saying.
Quiet. There are all kinds of temptations in this world, madam. And you hope that when you marry somebody, that they're going to be able to withstand the temptations. And if they can't, it's their fault. It's not somebody else's fault. In any event, she's suing you for $4,000.
Yes, ma'am.
That, she said, represents her medical bills. You are clearly responsible for that. I want to hear about your counterclaim. You have 1 minute.
I went to the hospital that night and was in the hospital for 2 days following.
I was extremely stressed out over the whole situation. I asked her repeatedly to leave my husband alone. She told me she would do what she wanted to do, when she wanted to do it, and I lost it. And I have to admit that
I'm talking about your
I went to the
counterclaim.
hospital, and I was there for 2 days because of the immense stress that this, I don't even want to call her a woman, has put me through, that she continues to put me through to this day.
What about him? Why don't you sue him?
I married him for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in front of God, in front of all of our friends. And it's my choice to forgive him, and we have been through counseling.
Perfect. Listen to me. He's the one that owes you the responsibility of doing the right thing.
Me.
Doesn't she owe us to leave us alone?
I have.
Excuse me?
Excuse me? Outside. Put him out.
Come on.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, sure.
I was under so much stress from the immoral actions of this person that I suffered a miscarriage. My child has had to be in counseling. I have had a lot of issues because of her, and to this day.
Because of them?
Yes, ma'am.
Because of them?
She instigated it.
Because you don't get it. You have to put it in your head. He owes you the responsibility of doing the right thing. She doesn't. He has a contract with you, moral contract and a legal contract. He violated the contract. And I would have very little sense of an obligation to mitigate your damages if Miss Lampert did not continue the relationship after November, when she knew that the two of you were trying to work things out. Miss Lampert fully understood that. From November until, she says, August of 2006, she continued a relationship with him. That's going to hurt you, Miss Lampert, because then you knew that what you were doing was interfering with a relationship, and there is a cause of action. It's a cause of action in common law called alienation of affection. That means you are contributing to alienating the affection of her husband, and you know what that's going to cost you? $4,000. So I rule in your favor on your lawsuit in the amount of $4,000. And I rule in your favor on the counterclaim in the amount of $4,000. Neither one of you are getting anything. That's it. Goodbye.
Alicia Blanchard claims ex-boyfriend Fred Bray borrowed a large sum of money from her and never paid it back.
Miss Blanchard, the defendant used to be your boyfriend, and you claim a series of loans to him while he was out of work in the amount of $4,200. Mr. Bray says that you didn't make any loans to him. Taking out loans, you and your brother, you were pretty flush with cash, and you gave him a couple of $100s when he needed it, but that was about it. So, when did he become your boyfriend?
In September.
Of what year?
06.
Could you keep your voice up? I'm getting old. And when did you make the first loan to him?
September 20th of 06.
So as soon as you met him, he needed money?
Yes.
How old are you?
21.
And where do you live?
In Marysville, California.
Who do you live with?
I live with my parents.
Do you work?
Currently, I don't.
How do you support yourself?
My mother gives me money for gas to look for work, and that's it.
Who were you working for in September of 2006?
Singular Wireless cell phone company.
What were you doing for them?
I was a customer service rep.
For how long?
For 7 months.
What were you earning?
Around $2,000 a month.
Did you file tax returns last year?
Yes.
How much did you earn?
$11,000.
Where did you get $4,200 to lend to him?
From loan companies.
Show me.
Hey.
What are these check cashing things?
Those are payday advance companies. You go in and you write a check, and on your next payday you pay them back.
Were you living at home when you were doing all of this stupidity?
Yes.
Well, tell me all about it. I'm really curious. All in September, September 29th, September 29th, October 2nd. So days after meeting him, you started giving him money, according to you.
Correct.
Yeah, and?
He actually worked as a loan agent when I had first met him. About a month after I'd met him, he had told me that he resigned from his job. He had told me he liked money coming in from different directions, that he wanted to borrow $200 in the beginning for a business license so he could help promote a rap group. He would help pay me back once he would receive that money. For help promoting those groups.
And what if he didn't receive the money for helping to promote the groups?
He told me that was a for sure thing.
But nothing's for sure. Maybe he didn't get any money.
He told me it was a for sure.
How many different times do you claim that you gave him money?
10 different occasions.
10?
Yes.
And you're telling me that you never used any of this money yourself?
I did.
You did. That's what I thought. How much of the money that you took out in loans did you use yourself?
About $1,900.
Let's say $2,000. How much did you take out altogether?
Altogether around $5,000.
Altogether $5,000. You used $2,000 for yourself, which leaves $3,000 that you say you gave to him.
I used that money to pay back loans. I pulled out
other loans?
The loans that I had pulled out, I used that money to pay them. I would pull out a loan and then I would pay it back by pulling out another loan.
What I asked you, Miss Blanchard, was how much money of this money that you took out did you use for yourself?
About $900.
Well, first you told me it was $1,900.
That was the total of the money that I had used, but part of it was to pay back the loans, about $1,000. Around $1,000 was for myself.
And what did you do with the $1,000 that you took out yourself?
I was using it for gas and to live off of.
How do I know what you kept for yourself, to use for yourself? Who are you, the brother?
Yes, I am.
How much you gave to your brother of the loans you took out? Because you gave some money to him. We know that, right?
No, that didn't happen.
Yeah, sure you did. You took out some, you gave some to yourself, you gave some to him, and I think you gave him some. And you figured it would never catch up with you.
No, that's not what happened. My brother got $100, if that.
Well, so now you gave him $100. He says you gave him nothing. Is he lying?
No. He's not lying.
Well, you just said you gave him nothing.
I didn't.
I'm speaking. Is your sister lying?
No, she is not.
So she gave you money?
Not handed, but more like buying clothes, products.
With the money she borrowed?
Yeah, she has to pull out loans.
You acted like a big baby with the loans. That's what you did.
I thought I was going to help him.
You also helped yourself and you helped him. And now you want him to pay for the whole thing.
I don't want him to pay for anything, just what's rightfully owed to me.
Well, there's no way of telling that, madam. How am I going to tell that? You kept no records. There's no question in my mind, based upon what you finally told me, that you used some of the money yourself.
The defendant made sure every time that I met him that I was by myself and that I had gave him cash. He did that purposely so that there was no records kept. He knew what he was doing. He was a loan officer.
Listen to me, madam. All you have to do is give him a check.
He told me he didn't want a check.
I don't care what he said he wanted. All you had to do was give him a check. All you had to do was give him a money order. But what happened was you took out all of these loans, some money you spent on yourself, clothes, gas, eating out. Some money you spent on your brother, clothes, according to him, no records. So how do you expect me to figure out what it is that you gave to him when you don't know? Now, see, I'm finished with her. Now I'm going to start with you.
All right.
Let's start out with this. How old are you, sir?
28.
Have you been married?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
Have children?
Yes.
How many?
One.
That child live with you?
No.
You pay regular support?
Yes.
To whom?
To the mother.
Directly or through the court?
Through the courts.
Which court?
Sacramento.
Do they take the money out of your check or do you send it directly?
I send it directly.
Have you been in arrears?
Yeah.
You think I'm asking these questions because I'm just making them up as I go? I'm smarter than you will be every day that you open your eyes for the rest of your life, sir. Do you understand that? Do you understand where I'm going?
Yeah.
Every day for the rest of your life, you're going to open up your eyes and you're going to say, I met a woman who was smarter than I am every day I open my eyes. You got it?
Yes.
Now, you took advantage of Miss Blanchard financially. You're 28, married, divorced, child who you don't support, no job.
I do have a job.
She had a job. She had the ability to take out money. She gave you money. She also paid some of your bills. Right?
Yeah, she did.
That means, sir, that you took advantage of her because you contributed to this relationship. Zero, nada, nothing, nothing. That I can see, at least. Whatever it is, it's well camouflaged. Now, all I want to know from you, sir, is there's no question in my mind that you borrowed money from her.
No, I didn't.
Mr. Bray, this is not a give and take situation, sir. There is no question in my mind that you borrowed money from her and you said, when I get it together, I'm going to give it back to you. When the deal comes through, I'm going to give it back to you. Did she pay your cell phone bill?
She did it well on her own.
I didn't ask you that. I said, did she pay your cell phone bill?
Yeah, she did 3 times.
And tell me how it came about, Mr. Bray. You see, I'm an ecumenical abuser, sir.
I'll tell you.
Tell me how it came about that she paid your cell phone bill. How much do you weigh?
205.
How much do you think she weighs? A lot less than you, right?
Yeah.
She's a lot younger than you are. She lives home with her parents, right? Where do you live?
I got my own place.
And you've been on your own for a long time.
Yeah.
You've been to court a couple of times.
Yeah.
So you're a lot more worldly than she is. Tell me how it came about that she paid your cell phone bill.
She went into, we go through the same cell phone company. She went in her own. I didn't even ask her to pay it. She would do it on her own, send me a text message like, hey, hon, it's me, Alicia. I paid your cell phone bill. And she did it up until November. I never told her to go and do that.
I didn't ask you whether you told her. You know, believe it or not, Mr. Bray, I have had boyfriends in my life. I know that sounds strange for you to conjure up, right? Strange. And unless one of them said to me, you know, I can't pay my phone bill or my phone bill's overdue or they're going to cut off my phone, I would never have known that they were overdue with their cell phone bill. So if something doesn't make sense, sir, it's not true. Do you get it? Now, you had no job, and you had a cell phone. If you have no job, then you don't need a cell phone.
I had a job. I still have a job.
I thought you gave up your job as a loan officer, sir.
I'm a loan officer, so I get paid 100% commission. I didn't quit my job. I told her the market was slow at the time when we met.
So you weren't getting any money?
Yeah, I still have other ways of getting money, though.
How?
I did a lot of promotions for a lot of guys. I don't know if you ever seen them guys. Everybody want to be a rap star now. So since they were out there trying to sell CDs, what I did is I started a promotion company. I would come up with ways to try to help these guys market themselves, going into different clubs.
And you made a living at that?
No, it was something brand new that I just started at the time.
Money for the cell phone. Where did you get it from?
She paid it on her own. She really did, on her own.
Listen to me. The attraction, I hardly understand. Quite frankly. You have somebody of marginal intelligence who has no money, who has the responsibility of a child that he doesn't support, encumbered by a lot of things, including the fact that he's no stranger to the court system. All of these things. And you're a 21-year-old girl who lives at home with her parents. I don't get it. Must be a well-kept secret. In any event, you did a very stupid thing. How many times did you pay a cell phone bill? 3? What were the bills?
$50.
Each time?
Yes.
Okay. And how much money did she give you, sir? Not loan you. How much money did she give you?
I'll say about 16.
1,600?
Yeah.
Okay. So far, sir, by your own statement, we have $1,750. 3 months of phone bills and $1,600 in loans. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm going to make it an even $2,500. How's that? Pick on somebody your own size, why don't you? You know, you used to taking advantage of women?
And take advantage of her.
Sure
Get it on
you
her
did.
own.
Sure you did. Do you think you could pull that baloney on me? Look at this face. You think you could pull that baloney on me? You think you could pull that baloney on somebody who was worldly? You know?
I didn't pull anything.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't pull anything.
Mr. Bray, I don't get you at all. She does. That was her problem. You owe her $2,500. Get rid of the smile and pay the lady. That's all.
25-year-old Kendra Weber is suing her former roommates, 22-year-old Andrea Gonzalez and her boyfriend, Kyle Evans, for the return of her security deposit and renter's insurance.
Miss Gonzalez, how long were you and Miss Weber friends before you decided to room together?
About 3 years.
When did you sign this lease, Miss Weber?
On November 8th, 2004.
And how many people signed the lease?
Just us two, Andrea and I.
And what was your agreement?
We were to split all of the bills and rent 50-50 two ways.
And this must be Kyle.
That's correct.
Who is Kyle?
Kyle is my boyfriend.
Kyle didn't sign the lease.
No, he did not.
You moved out.
Yes, that's correct.
It is your claim that you moved out because things were made totally untenable with the apartment, and you wanted to move in with your boyfriend.
This is correct.
And you want some of your security deposit back and some renter's insurance.
That's correct.
Several $100s. And Miss Gonzalez and Mr. Evans say that you're not entitled to it. You moved out and you knew that you were going to forfeit any monies that you put into the apartment. Did you move in November of 2004?
Yes.
When did you move out?
April 30th.
And you had paid your rent up until that time?
Yes, I had.
And for my own information, when did Kyle move in?
It was just about a week or two after we moved in, so still in November of 2004.
And what was the rent on the apartment?
$12.75 for the first 6 months, and after that, $13.75.
And how much were you paying?
The first month I paid half, and then after he moved in, we split it three ways, $4.25 apiece.
And how much security deposit did you put in, Kyle?
I didn't put any in.
Why?
I wasn't on the lease.
Well, you were living there.
For the majority.
So why didn't you pay security deposit?
Because the security deposit was worked out between the defendant and plaintiff.
Are you still living there?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
How much security deposit did you put in now?
Nothing.
Nothing. Well, now you're going to put in her security deposit, Kyle. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. So you're going to give her $285, and then when you move out, if you keep the place nice and clean, you're going to get your $285 back. Doesn't that sound fair to you?
Yes.
Perfect. See how easy this is? Now let's deal with the renter's insurance. Did you pay the renter's insurance?
I paid half of it, yes.
You paid half. How much did you pay, Kyle?
None.
Why not, Kyle?
Because I wasn't officially living there. I was in
What do you mean
between.
you're not officially living there? You were living there, Kyle, because you were paying a third of the rent after 1 month of them signing the lease. You were officially living there. You're not a moron, are you? You wouldn't pay rent in an apartment where you weren't living, would you?
No, I was helping my girlfriend out.
Well, where else were you paying rent, Kyle?
Nowhere else, but I was also with my mom.
You weren't paying any rent to your mom?
No.
He was not living with his mom.
Just a second. Of course he wasn't living with his mom. He thinks because I'm older than he is, I'm stupid. You think all old people are stupid?
No.
Very good. So, you wouldn't pay rent for a place where you weren't living. What do you do for a living?
Loan setup. I work in the mortgage industry.
And how do you get to work every day?
I drive.
A what?
A car.
In whose name is the car?
That would be in my mom's and my name.
Is it in your mom's name because you're too young to have a car in your name?
No, it's just I needed a cosigner on the car.
Oh, but your mom doesn't drive in the car?
Not usually, no.
It's your car?
For the most part, yes.
And how far does your mom live away from you?
I'd say about 15 miles.
So how long does it take you to drive when you go visit her?
10 minutes.
So she doesn't come on the weekends to take your car, does she?
No, but I visit her on the weekends.
You do?
Yes.
And the rest of the time you live where?
I live most of the time over there. There are nights where I do go over there.
What a moron. All right, listen to me, Kyle. You're going to give Miss Weber $313. $285 of that represents her security deposit, which you have now taken over. Do you understand? When you're neat and clean and tidy and you and your girlfriend decide to move out, you'll get the $285 back. Doesn't that sound fair to you?
There was also damage done.
Speaking. Does that sound fair to you?
Yes.
Then you have renter's insurance. Now, renter's insurance covers any property that may be in the apartment. How much property does she have in the apartment?
At that time or right now?
Now!
None.
How much property do you have in the apartment?
A good amount, I believe.
Good. Then the renter's insurance is going to help you out. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $313. It's been delightful chatting with you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. Brittany Lawler claims ex-boyfriend Nathan Fletcher broke their apartment lease. Nathan says Brittany kicked him out after he spanked her son.
Miss Lawler, according to your complaint, you and the defendant lived together, signed a one-year lease in an apartment. You moved in, there were three of you. You, the defendant, and you have a child who's 6. You lived together and everything was pretty okay for a while, and then there was an incident involving your son. And the incident involving your son surrounded an eating tantrum that he had. And according to Mr. Fletcher, he threw a tantrum and Mr. Fletcher spanked him. After that, the two of you separated, never got back together again. Mr. Fletcher did pay the rent for a couple of months and then stopped. You want him to pay the last 3 or 4 months' rent because he signed the lease with you. Mr. Fletcher says that he really anticipated that you would be back together again, that you told him to leave, and that he's not going to pay any rent since you asked him to leave. And not only asked him to leave, you told him to leave. I believe in your answer, Mr. Fletcher, you say that her parents gave her an ultimatum. Either you left or they were taking her son.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what happened?
No.
Well, we'll find out. If they did say that, it probably would have been the right thing to do. Mr. Fletcher.
Yes, ma'am.
There are certain given facts in this case. You signed the joint lease, which obligated you to pay half the rent. You did not pay half the rent for how many months? 3?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes.
3 months. What for the other 7 months you did? And what was your share of the rent?
$745 a month.
And yours was $745?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you living now?
I'm still living there. The lease is not up yet, and I'm moving back in with my parents.
Who's paying the rent now?
I am.
From what?
I had to borrow money. I had to take out a personal loan with the bank in order to cover the rent.
Do you work?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Fletcher, tell me when you spanked her son.
It was evening of the 8th, Monday. Had cooked some dinner for him. Huh?
8th of what?
January. He was eating dinner, and all of a sudden he just started having a little tantrum, and I told him to stop, spitting food all over the carpet, told him to go to his room, wouldn't comply, so I spanked him.
Why don't you just pick him up and put him in his room?
Didn't think about it.
How old is he?
He was 5 at the time.
Where did you spank him?
On his bottom.
What'd you use?
Back of my hand.
How many times did you hit him?
I hit him once.
Once?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
I wasn't there. I'd have to take his word or my son's word. So.
Well, you don't have to take his word. What did your son say?
My son said that he had hit him very hard, so he was upset.
Is there any mark on him?
There was a little mark, yes.
You told your parents?
Yes.
And what happened?
When I saw it, I asked him, I said, you know what, you can't stay right now. This is not going to be a good situation. I don't know what's going to happen. I asked him to leave temporarily while he maybe did some parenting classes, maybe anger management or something to help cool things down and maybe fix the situation so that we could stay together.
So what do you want him to do?
I want him to fulfill his obligation and continue to pay the rest of the rent.
But he can't live there, Miss Lawler.
He can't live there because of his own behavior, because of his own actions.
I mean, I don't think if he hit, I'm not advocating Mr. Fletcher using corporal punishment on your child. Let's start with that. However, since you left him with your son in a position of parenting authority, there's a difference between corporal punishment and excessive corporal punishment. If Mr. Fletcher says he hit him once on the behind, and you have no reason to dispute that, and if you told him to leave as a result of that, and he did not have the ability to stay in the apartment because of that, he shouldn't have to pay the rent.
He signed the lease, and because of his actions...
You move.
And how am I going to move with my son when everything in that apartment was mine?
Listen to me, Miss Lawler. That's a choice that you have. Instead of telling him to leave, say, listen, we have the following choices. We're both on this lease. I can't afford the rent because I'm not working. I'm going to move back with my parents. You can stay in the apartment. Or if I stay in the apartment, we have to do something with the lease. But you told him to leave.
It's temporary.
No.
Yes, it doesn't.
No, you gave him... No.
No.
My dear, temporary.
He left some of his stuff in the apartment, so he knew it was not permanent. I told him, you get some parenting classes, you do some counseling,
and that has nothing to do with the lease.
Yes, it does. It has everything to do with
Miss Lawler, it has nothing to do with the lease, madam. He didn't sign a lease and sign on to take on parenting classes or anger management classes. That wasn't a condition of his lease.
No, he did sign a lease that he would fulfill his obligation to pay his rent for the entire year. It doesn't matter what happened. He has an obligation to finish paying the rent.
That's why you're here. He did, in fact, pay 2 months' rent when he wasn't living there.
Yes, because he said he would continue to pay the rent because it was his obligation.
And I'm telling you that you told him to leave.
I asked him to leave temporarily until the situation calmed down. Am I supposed to put my son and me in some situation
when is your lease? When is your lease?
Comfortable?
Listen to me. When is your lease up?
My lease is up at the end of this month.
Well, you should have come to court earlier. I would have told you to go back to your parents earlier and told him to move back into the apartment.
What I have done? He can't pay the rent. We would have both still been on the lease, and we both still would be...
Miss Lawler, that's a what if. And what I'm telling you is the lease is up in 20 days. Instead of waiting 20 days, you should have sued him before. You should have gone in the first month that he said, I'm not paying you any more rent.
I couldn't, because I had to go back every month.
And then I would have said to you, Miss Lawler, go home to your parents now. Mr. Fletcher, you go back to the apartment and continue to pay the rent.
He couldn't have paid the rent by himself. Either way, if he had stayed or I had stayed, it doesn't matter. We would still be in the same situation.
Miss Lawler, right now, he paid rent for 2 months in an apartment where he was not living. When he was not living, you threw him. Don't you get it?
I did not throw him out. I asked him to temporarily leave. That's not.
When did you invite him back?
I wouldn't invite him back.
Just answer my question.
If you would let
When
me.
did you invite him? You said, I asked him to leave temporarily. When did you invite him back? On what date?
I told him he could come back when he took some counseling.
He doesn't have to do that,
Well, then he doesn't have to continue the relationship with me. If that was the circumstances, he knew that when he moved out, that he needed to get some help to continue the relationship so that he can move back in. It was not just the spanking of my son that started this. He has been unstable and yelling, screaming, accusing me of cheating. Every other week,
that's
he
a
would
whole other. Then you should have gone home to your parents earlier, Miss Lawler. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Brandy McCant says, Gentlemen's Club owner Joe Meridian and graphic designer Farron Young used a picture of her on a club flyer without her permission.
Miss McCants, your claim is that you went to a photographer and had some photos taken of you.
Yes.
And those photographs were subsequently used without your permission by a gentleman's club. Who is representing the gentleman's club?
I am, Judge.
And your name is?
Joe Meridian.
For flyers to promote the club, and it was used in such a way as to depict you as a pole dancer. You were a college student, and you gave no permission to Mr. Meridian or anyone else to use the photographs for those purposes. Mr. Young is a graphic designer who somehow got a hold of those pictures on the internet and created the flyer that Mr. Meridian used. So you're suing both of them.
Yes, I am.
Mr. Young says he got the photographs from the internet, from what he believed was a free site where anybody could take pictures and use them for commercial purposes. Mr. Meridian says he's not responsible because he didn't prepare the flyer, and all he did was commission somebody to do it, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, unfortunately for you, Mr. Meridian, that defense for this flyer won't fly, because the buck ultimately stops in the place where, if it was used improperly, it was used commercially for you, and you benefited from that photograph. So if I find that that happened without the plaintiff's permission, then you are responsible. Now, you have the right to sue those people that you think are responsible for getting you in hot water, and that would be somebody who you say created this flyer, but ultimately you're responsible. Okay, let's go back. When did you take these photographs and why?
These photographs were taken in March of 2008, and I did them with a photographer, David Garnes, as a test shoot.
Do you have pictures? Do you have the test shoot photographs?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Okay.
So they are provocative pictures, right? Now you can return them. And let me see the site, Mr. Young, where you got these pictures from.
Shows a disclaimer also.
Right
a disclaimer on the website, Your Honor.
Can you show me where you say that this is a disclaimer, you can use these for free?
Well, he said disclaimer.
No, no, no.
Just showing
I want you to come up here and point out to me, or take this pen and point out to me here where it says, not that that's dispositive necessarily, but point out where it says that you can use these for free.
Can I elaborate?
No, I want to look where Mr. Meridian says that he thinks you can use them for free.
I didn't say for free, Your Honor. I just said disclaimer for using the photos. It says use for your own projects.
Yes, it says that you can use them for your own projects. It doesn't say you can use them for free.
Exactly. That's what I said I wanted to do.
Go ahead.
Okay, see, when you go to official PSDs, you can log in, right? And then you buy pictures that are exclusive. Now, the website also have a public domain.
You use this picture in creating what flyer, sir? I want to see the flyer that you created.
And she has a flyer right there.
We discontinued the flyer, Your Honor.
Of course.
We also changed the name of the club.
Oh, well, it's exactly the same picture, madam. It's exactly the same picture. They didn't take your head and put it on somebody else's body or your body and put it on. This is the exact same picture that you took.
Yep.
Correct?
Yeah.
Quiet. Correct?
That's the photo that I took.
That's the photograph that you took. Okay. Not difficult. You cannot use her pictures for commercial purposes without either getting her permission or paying her. Do you understand? I'm going to say it again. You cannot use her picture, her likeness, for your commercial purposes without either getting a waiver from her or permission or paying her.
Well, how much do we have to pay her?
Right. Today, how much do you have to pay her today? $5,000. That's what you have to pay her today.
But
just a second.
Okay.
Because if she took these pictures for her own purposes and she didn't give you permission to use them, it would be no different from you going on your television set and taking a picture of me. And then, because I'm out there, I'm free, right? I'm free.
Sure.
You can go and take a picture of me. You can take a picture of me. I'm walking in the street. You can take a picture of me. Somebody takes a picture of me and posts it on their website, and it's free. He takes a picture of me. You're the photographer, right?
Correct.
He takes a picture of me and posts it on his website. We're going to make this easy. He takes a picture of me in the street, posts it on his website. Don't look confused, sir. We're getting there.
I'm educated man.
We're
I
getting
understand
there.
what you're saying.
Don't look confused. We're getting there.
I got you.
Takes a picture of me, posts it on his website. Your graphic designer says, I know how we could get a whole bunch of people in our gentleman's club. I'm going to take Judge Judy's somebody else's body, if you really want to get a customer, and put her around a pole. Now, shh, the picture is free. It's up there. He's posted my picture. Do you think that you have the right to use my image to get people to come into your club without my permission and without paying me?
See,
the answer is you do not.
But that's different.
No, sir. It's not different, Mr. Young. It's exactly the same. Now, let's say that there's a disclaimer on here.
Okay.
Let's say that it says free, you can use it free, and all these people are 21 years or older. And you say, oh, that's fine. I can use these, and they're all 21 years and older. And one of them turns out to be 14.
Oh.
Listen to me. One of them turns out to be 14. And you make her into a pole dancer, and you make flyers of her. Do you know where you're going to find yourself? In federal prison. And your defense of, I didn't know she was 14, she looked 21, they're going to say to you, that doesn't matter. That's kiddie porn. And you can't accept somebody else's statement here that it's free, just like if you meet a girl at a bar and you go home with her and have sex with her, and she turns out to be 13, and she's dressed like a 35-year-old, and they arrest you for statutory rape, you can't say to them, she told me she was 20, and she looked like 20, I didn't know. You know where you find yourself? In federal prison. Now, I want you to listen to me very carefully. You cannot use somebody else's likeness for your commercial purposes without getting a waiver from them and without paying them if they want to be compensated. Do you get it? Don't argue. Do you get it?
Get it? I don't agree with it.
Then move to Namibia or someplace else. I don't care where you move to. In this country, you cannot exploit someone.
Well, Your Honor.
Listen to me. You cannot exploit someone.
She exploited herself by putting herself all over the internet in a bikini.
No, my dear.
If she didn't want
my dear, she didn't do that.
What were those shots for,
that.
Your Honor?
Listen to me. He did that.
Then she should be suing her photographer.
Just a second. You used it for commercial purposes.
I didn't use it.
Yes, you did.
I didn't pay this gentleman.
Listen to me. You used it for your own commercial purposes. If you think that you have the right to implead, which is sue the people who got you in trouble, do it.
All I'm saying is that...
Just a second. I'm not talking to you. Do it. But You used the flyers, you generated income from the flyers, and you are responsible for ensuring that anybody whose image you use, you have permission to use that image by either consent or a contract that pays them money. That's your responsibility. That's the buck stops. Now, you could say, listen, I was misled by somebody, so I'm going to sue them. You have the right to do that. Right now, the two of you are going to pay her $5,000. Now you can sit down. Now, you're the plaintiff.
Yes, I am.
Sit. Now you can stand back up again. Has he been sworn?
They've all been sworn.
All right, you're the photographer.
Yes, I am.
You're suing them.
I'm suing Farron.
You're suing for what?
For using my picture for commercial.
That's too bad. For using the picture without your permission? That would come under the category of too bad. Did you have her permission to post her picture on the internet?
Yes, I did.
Let me see it.
I don't have it.
That's too bad that you don't have it. Where'd you think you were coming to today? A tea dance?
No, I wanted to tell you.
Did you think you were coming to a tea dance?
No, I didn't.
Then you bring me her permission and her consent to put her picture up on the internet.
Well, she is my witness. Can she?
No,
okay.
I want to see it because right now there could be a conspiracy between the two of you to get you another $5,000, which I'm not going to tolerate. Quiet!
Okay.
Do you understand that, sir?
I do understand that, ma'am.
Right. As far as I'm concerned, you had no right to put her picture up on the internet. So you're not going to get compensated diddly. You got it?
Okay.
Goodbye.
Robert McCullough is suing a former bandmate of his daughter's friend, Joseph Bongiorno, for the return of his musical equipment.
Mr. McCullough, it is your claim that the defendant has a piece of music equipment that belongs to you.
Actually, two pieces, Your Honor.
An amp and something else.
And a controller for it, yes.
The defendant acknowledges that he has the equipment. He said it's his. You gave it to him.
Okay.
That's your defense, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where is it?
It is currently in my possession at my home.
How long do you know the plaintiff?
Mr. McCullough, I met back in November of 2008.
How did you meet him?
I met him through Matthew Clooney, the plaintiff's witness. I'd been in a band with them since early, probably November of 2007.
So you met him through your bandmate?
Yes.
Now, tell me the circumstances of how this perfect stranger to you, someone with whom you had no relationship with, no business dealings with, correct? Mm-hmm. Gave you what he says, valuable pieces of equipment worth in excess of $1,000.
I went to his house with Matt Clooney, and he said Matt had previously called me saying that Mr. McCullough had an amplification system for me to use, and I went to
use an amp system for you to use.
It was given to me, yes.
No, you first said he had an amp system for you to use. Mm-hmm. Those are the words that you just said. Is that right, sir?
No, ma'am.
No, of course it's right. You want me to play it back for you?
No,
what you said was Matt called you and said that Mr. McCullough had amp equipment for you to use. Then you quickly changed the word use for you to have. But the first word you used was use, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do?
I took the equipment from Mr. McCullough.
What was the agreement? What did he say to you and what did you say to him?
Well, when it was given to me or handed over to me, there was no agreement saying that I had to return the equipment.
Tell me what he said to you.
What he said to me was, you can have this equipment and use it, you know, tell me what you think about it, and that was what was said.
Did you use it?
Yes.
Did you tell him what you thought about it?
No, I did not.
Then you have to give it back. He gave it to you to use, and he said to you, I want you to use this and tell me what you think about it. There's your contract, if I believe you. You never told him what you thought about the equipment.
No, I did not.
You got to give it back. Now. The fact that you're angry because you're no longer in the band doesn't mean you don't return the equipment. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Within 5 days, sir, you get your equipment back.
Your Honor, just one quick thing I'd like to interject, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What would be the recourse I'd have the two pieces of equipment?
Do you have the two pieces of equipment?
Yes, ma'am.
He has them.
Okay.
And they're to be returned to him in good condition. Otherwise, he can bring you back here. Do you understand? You don't want to be back here because you've already embarrassed yourself. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. That's all. Thank you.
Norma Villa says her sister, Alicia Vasquez, owes for car payments, car repairs, and money loans.
Miss Villa, the defendant is your sister.
That's correct.
And some time ago, she needed a car. You agreed to take out a loan in your name.
That is correct, Your Honor.
What kind of car did she buy?
It was a 99 volts Jetta.
How much was the loan?
For $11,809, I believe.
So that was very nice of your sister. When did she take out the loan for you?
In 2003 of June.
And you made the payments on the loan?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Until when?
Until March of 2005.
What happened in March of 2005?
I lost my job, and I was fighting an appeal for unemployment, and so I couldn't make the payments after in April and May.
That's what your lawsuit wants?
Yes.
April and May's car payment, as well as a substantial amount of money because you claimed that your sister abandoned the car and destroyed it.
Yes, ma'am.
Caused a lot of damage to the car. Cost you $2,000 to put the car back into shape. You are now driving the car and paying it off.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You acknowledge that you didn't make April and May's car payment?
Yes, ma'am.
So you acknowledge that you owe that to your sister because somebody had to make it?
No, ma'am. What happened was I didn't have money to pay April and May, and she said that she would either try to help me or that if she couldn't help me in any way, then to go ahead and take the tires, because I kept telling her, what about my rims? And she said, if I can't help you, if you can't make the payment, then fork it. You know, I don't have money. And she said, I don't have money or anything, so go ahead and take the rims off.
Miss Vasquez, somebody paid April and May's car payment. It was not you.
Well, Your Honor, what happened was she didn't pay the April and May payment. Actually, she told me that the bank had reported the car stolen. So I lived with my mom.
Somebody has now made April and May's car payment if she's driving the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Who had the car in April?
I had the car in April.
Who had the car in May?
I did, ma'am. But
Just
I
a
also...
second. Listen to me. If you had the car in April and drove it, and you had the car in May and drove it, why should anybody else make the car payment for you? That was not your agreement with your sister.
Right, ma'am, but see, what happened was we were waiting for an appeal to go through for my unemployment so I can pay those payments.
I don't give a rat's behind about your appeal for unemployment. I asked you a very simple question. The very simple question was, if you drove the car in April and you drove the car in May, who should pay for the car?
Well, I should have paid for the car.
That's the answer. You drove it. You pay for it.
Well, now she's driving the car, so...
She's not asking you for anything else.
But I put a down payment on the vehicle, which was $800.
In 2003?
Yes, ma'am. But I already paid $6,000 on the vehicle.
How much a month did you pay for the car?
I paid $328 a month.
And how much do you think it would cost you to rent a car?
I have no idea, ma'am.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a homemaker now, ma'am.
Who supports you?
Unemployment.
How many children do you support?
I support 2.
Do they live with you?
One of them does.
Where does the other one live?
With his dad.
And who else lives in your home?
My husband.
And what does he do for a living?
He's unemployed.
Why?
Because it's been hard for him to find a job because he doesn't have documents.
Well, so you always ask one question too many. Do you have documents?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a U.S. citizen.
Then you have to work.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. And take care of your baby.
That's what he did.
Good. But you both can't stay home.
Right. Now, well, I just
then stick your sister with your car payment, because if you're both not working, you don't even need a car. If you're sitting around doing nothing, then you don't need a car.
But we had made an agreement, because I had told her, we had made an agreement, me and her had made an agreement to work, because she knew that I couldn't make the payments, and she had agreed that she would wait for me to go to court and then go ahead and just pay the car payment even if it was late. We had made the agreement, me and her.
That's incorrect, Your Honor. Does not make any sense.
What do you do for a living, Miss Fia?
I'm a team manager for a well-known company.
And you have children?
I have 4.
You support them?
I do.
Do they live with you?
They do.
Anybody else live in your house other than your 4 children?
My husband.
Does he work?
Yes, he does.
What kind of work does he do?
He's a manager for a contracting company.
Makes a good living?
Yes, he does.
You own a home?
I own 2, ma'am.
Have mortgages?
Yes.
Have cars?
Yes.
Have car payments?
Yes.
See what I mean? That, Miss Vasquez, is the American dream.
Well, that's my American dream someday.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
You can't stay home in your house,
right,
hoping the American dream will find you.
Right.
And you can't encumber anybody else with your problems.
I understand, ma'am, but I was fighting an appeal at the time, and that's
You
why...
already told me that 3 times. You don't visit that on your sister. Now, how much was each car payment?
They're $328 plus the late delinquency.
And what was the late fee?
I have a breakdown if you need that.
Yeah.
And then I have photos. I don't sure if you need them, but they're the damages.
I want to see the damage that you allege to the car.
And the house that you see there in that photo is my defendant's witness's mom's house. So what a coincidence for that one.
You told us to leave the car there.
No. Be truthful. You just got sworn in.
Shh. Did you take the wheels off this car?
they're my tires. She told me that it was okay to do that.
The car was not given to her like that.
She told me days before that there was insurance on the vehicle before she was mad and angry and did all this. And she told me I had told her, well, Norma, I haven't went to court yet for my unemployment to pay.
No.
I'm being
honest. I want you to let her speak. Do you understand? Okay. And I don't want you to interrupt her again.
Okay.
Keep
and
going.
She told me that I told her to ask the bank if she can tell the bank that the money was, lost in the mail.
So you asked her,
yes,
to lie to the bank.
I asked her, yes, ma'am,
that the check was in the mail.
Yes,
when it really wasn't in the mail.
Right.
So you lied, and you wanted her to lie,
and she did.
Just a second. And according to you, she lied for you.
She said that she was going to tell the bank that that it was lost in the mail, and by that time I should have my money to go, so I could go ahead and pay the payments with the late fee.
Okay, so you asked her to lie for you, and she did lie for you.
Right.
And then when it came time for you to send the money, you still didn't send it.
No, what happened was days after that, she said that the bank had reported the car stolen. And she called my mom. She wouldn't talk to me no more. She called my mom, and she told my mom the car was reported stolen. I'd be taken out by gunpoint and to leave the car. So I lived with my mom. She could have went and picked up. She didn't have to do all this. She could have went and picked the car up at my mom's house. The car was never moved again until that she told my sister-in-law on the phone to leave it somewhere where the police can find it, which I don't understand. And she had told me way before all this happened to take the rims off if she couldn't make the payment. That's the honest truth, Your Honor. That now for the inside is not damaged. What happened is I've had that car for 2 years. I do have a daughter, and the inside of the vehicle, of course, is going to get dirty, but it's not demolished.
Just because you have a daughter doesn't mean that a car has to look like this.
Well, it's the interior, ma'am. It's the interior. When my daughter, like, sometimes she got car sick, she'd throw up, and we would clean it with, like, when you clean the car, it stains.
Well, then let me ask you a question. Who's supposed to take care of that now that you no longer have the car?
Well, I would.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's supposed to take care of it? The bank?
I am.
Right! There you go. Now, my next question to you. Nothing is my responsibility. When you put new rims on the car, what did you do with the old ones?
The old rims stayed at the dealer where I got the tires at.
Well, that's your problem. Because if you put something new on the car that you wanted to take back, then it was your responsibility to put back the original ones.
But my sister told me to do that.
I don't believe you. She's a responsible, reliable person who has a job, and she has a husband who is employed, and she supports a household with 4 children, and she has 2 homes and 2 mortgages and car payments of her own, and she doesn't seem to be making excuses that not anything is my fault.
I'm not saying
nothing. Pay careful attention.
Yes, ma'am.
If you take out a radio and you put in a more expensive one, and then you have to send back the car to the company because you can't afford it, you don't leave it with no radio. You put back the original one. You don't leave it like this.
She told me to leave it like that.
I don't believe you.
She told me to leave the car on brakes and to take my rims off of it. Honest to truth. Tell her.
Makes sense.
Tell the truth.
Makes sense.
Tell the truth, sis.
No, just don't speak to each other. I don't believe that she said it to you. Even if she did say it to you, then, if you're a grown-up, you say, look, I've had this car for 2 years. If I can't get the wheels that were originally on the car, I'm just going to have to take the loss and leave the ones that are on the car because somebody is going to be penalized for this. It's not going to be you because your name isn't anywhere on the paperwork. It's got to be the person whose name is on the paperwork. That's her.
That's probably why she told me there was insurance on the car and to do that.
Listen, I want you to get a copy of my book. It's a book that I wrote a long time ago. Beauty fades, dumb is forever. I'm trying to educate you.
Yes, ma'am.
You won't let it happen. When you do things in life, you're supposed to accept responsibility.
I accept the responsibility that I took the tires. Because
no, you accept responsibility that you took the tires, but you don't want to pay for it. That's the responsibility. You said, of course I took them.
Well, I did a down payment on the car. I put $800 in the car. She's driving the car. She's saying that it was demolished, that it didn't work. I mean,
Madam,
that doesn't make any sense.
Listen to me.
That should cover my $800.
When you buy a car, any car, new or used, as soon as you drive the car out of a showroom, it depreciates. Do you understand that? That requires a simple yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you put $800 down on the car and you drove the car out of the showroom, you lost your $800. Do I make myself clear? Mm-hmm. You don't get that back. Your car didn't appreciate in value because your daughter vomited on the back seat. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now let's get to this $315 rent check?
She was in the process of getting evicted, and she needed money. She couldn't get any money from anywhere.
This is in April. This is when she stopped paying for the car as well, in April.
Correct.
Well, tell me about it.
I didn't want her to lose a roof over her head. And
Tell me about the conversation. Where did it take place?
She called me and asked me over the phone at work and asked me if I can please lend her the money. Her husband's going to get work or she's going to get unemployment or whatever the case is. Can I please lend her $315 so that she can pay the eviction so that they won't evict her?
Okay, but she acknowledges that you gave her that money. When did you pay her back?
In June when I got, I had to get on cash aid.
You went on welfare?
Yes, because I had to move, Your Honor, to Santa Rosa.
Welfare gave you a lump sum check?
No, they gave me like a cash aid.
For how much?
It was like $380 something.
And you took that whole $300 and gave it to your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you do for money?
I had to go stay with my mom temporarily, so the $80 that I had, that's in the food stamps that they had gave me.
Did she give you back the $300?
She didn't, Your Honor.
Of course not. It doesn't make sense that you got $380 from welfare, and after this major to-do that you had with your sister where you were annoyed with her about the car, and she said she may help you out with the payments, and you turned the car over to your sister, who was then very angry with you because the car was destroyed in the interior and didn't have any wheels at all and was up on blocks, that you paid her back the $300 that you owed her, saving only $80 for yourself. It doesn't make sense. You owe your sister $1,500. That's what you owe it reasonably to put the car back into condition and for this loan that you did not pay back. And I suggest that you and or your husband find some way of earning a living. You made a baby, you got to get a job. That's all.
Marlene Lacey claims fellow motorist Sarah Rochon rammed her car during an incident of road rage. Sarah claims it was Marlene who ran into her. She is countersuing for the resulting damage.
I have a complaint and I have a counterclaim. Each of you claim road rage by the other. And Miss Lacey, you claim that the defendant assaulted you.
Yes.
The defendant denies that. So I'm used to, quite frankly, hearing about these road rage incidents with guys behind the wheel of a car. Very rarely do I see mature women who get involved with that kind of stupidity. It's very distressing. When did this happen?
March 12th of 07.
What time of the day?
3:30 p.m.
Where were you coming from or going to?
I was going to a doctor's appointment southbound on Highway 99.
Anybody in the car with you?
No.
And where were you going or coming?
I was picking up my son, going southbound on 99.
Okay, tell me what happened.
I was in the, there's a carpool lane, and then there's 3 regular lanes. Mr. Sean was a carpool because she had her daughter with her, but she was in the regular lane, and traffic was all backed up. So I was trying to get to my doctor's appointment. I rushed around her in the carpool lane and came back over real quick.
So you cut her off?
Well...
Just a second. So you cut her off?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
okay.
what you did. Just a second. Just a second. That's exactly what you did. You cut her off.
Okay.
Now, because there is no rule that if you have more than one person in the car, you have to drive in a carpool lane. The carpool lane merely allows you to be in that lane if you're more than one person.
Correct.
But there's no requirement that you go in a carpool lane if you're 2 people.
Correct.
I question you about that, Miss Lacey, because you hear that you were annoyed with her because she should have been in the carpool lane and not taking up space in the other 3 lanes where there was traffic. That's what you seem to indicate here.
Correct.
Well, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. There are tens of thousands of cars on the road. You're complaining about this lady because she didn't want to go in a fast lane with her daughter? That's ridiculous. And then you did the wrong thing. You cut her off. Now, I haven't gotten to you yet, but we will. Because I have a feeling that both of you ladies acted very badly that day. So after you cut her off, what happened?
I proceeded down southbound 99. I took the Florin Road exit and headed eastbound. There's 2 lanes on eastbound Florin. I was in the left lane, and I noticed a couple of minutes after I exited Florin Road, I noticed in my rearview mirror Miss Rochon in the right lane, and she comes up. She's next to my car yelling at me and calling me a few names.
She's yelling at you? What is she calling you? She's calling you bad names?
She's calling me bad names.
And what did you say to her?
I didn't say anything. I was like, you know, I was trying to get to my doctor's appointment. That's all I was trying to do. And she started calling me the B word and yelling at me for cutting her off, et cetera, et cetera. And next thing I knew, her car is over in my lane, hits my car. I'm looking, and in my lane is a tan SUV, and my first thought was, this lady is going to make me hit this SUV in front of me. So I slammed on my brakes. She had so much force on my car that she ended up over in the left lane, and I took a right onto Palmer House, right here. And I came down here. Because I wasn't sure, like I said, she was extremely upset, so I was scared to stop or anything. I got on the phone, was trying to get through to 911. She kept following me, and then I lost her, and I came back, and she was parked. So I was trying to take a picture of her license plate. So when I got through to 911, I would have the license plate number. As I was focusing in on the license plate, I had my windows down. She gets out of her car, comes up to my vehicle, to the passenger side, starts screaming and yelling at me on how I hit her car, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, no, I didn't. Next thing I knew, she reaches in through the passenger side window, grabs my purse out of my car, and I was in shock. I was like, wait a minute, that's stealing, that's my purse. So I get out of my car, I go around the back of my car, and she dumps my purse and throws everything on the ground. And I go to pick it up, and she rushes me, scratches me and everything. She is just going at me. And I was in shock, and I believe, excuse my language, but I think I said, what the F, that's assault? And she goes, no, your boyfriend beats you up. I'm like, oh, is that the way we play the game? And then she continues with these two gentlemen came out, pulled her off of me. I asked them if they would stick around and talk to the police. They said no. I went to pick up my belongings off of the ground, and when I went to stand back up, she pushes me. I didn't have a chance to brace myself or anything. I fell back, and my head hit the street, twisted my ankle, bruise on my right arm, everything's on the right side. Again, I get back up and start trying to retrieve my stuff again, and that's when the officer pulled up.
Okay, your version.
That was totally a lie.
Your version.
My version is, we were southbound on 99 on our way to pick up my son. We were in the carpool lane. She's tailgating me. My daughter noticed that.
Don't tell me what anybody else knows.
Okay, she
what
wanted...
happened from your perspective?
Okay, she went around on the shoulder to get around me. I wasn't in the number 2 lane. I was in the number 1 lane. She went around on the shoulder, started driving wildly. She was weaving in and out of traffic, got back in the carpool lane. I exited off the freeway. My daughter noticed when we were over the overpass. She said, the same car is getting off the freeway. Is that hers? I said, I don't know. So we were driving east on Florin, and then all of a sudden, I saw a car driving up fast behind me. So I moved over to the right lane, and lo and behold, bam, she crashes right into me.
Where was the damage to your car?
Got pictures right here.
See it.
And you can
tell.
You
have pictures of the damage to your car?
Yes. And she hit me. Shh.
Why don't I have any pictures of the front of either of these cars?
Because I didn't hit her. She hit me. She's claiming...
I said, why don't I have any pictures of the front of either of these cars?
Because there was no damage in the front of my car.
But if I had a picture of that, it would have been helpful.
Okay.
Because she sideswiped me, she didn't...
I did not sideswipe you.
No. This car looks to me as if this car, this is where the impact was in the front.
That's her tire marks.
That's where she crashed into me.
Well,
and then you can see on my picture where she stayed on my...
The damage to her car is mostly on the side.
Right.
Damage to your car, mostly over here. Okay, so she hits your car, and?
She tried to veer me to the right into a ditch. Why I had a picture of the ditch there. And then I managed to get ahead of her, so I passed the light, but she went to the right on Palmer House and tried to run from me. So I was like, she's not going to run from me. So I ended up backing up in the street and following her down the street. And she made a U-turn in someone's driveway. I came around behind her. She backed up and just crashed right into the back of my car. You could see the dent by the gas tank there. And then she managed to drive back down the street, went into a church parking lot. She did a donut in there, and I got a picture of the marks on the ground there. if you look at the picture. And she was heading straight for me like she wanted to play chicken. So I was like, this lady has no regard for me and my daughter. And first of all, why would I even hit her with my daughter in the car?
You have a police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at the police reports, please.
And I'm a commercial truck driver, so why would I want to ruin my driving record? That's my livelihood. I am a Class A truck driver, so I have no reason to be crashing into anybody.
You told the police that after you took the pocketbook out of her car, which you acknowledged that you did, which was the wrong thing to do, you understand, that she slapped you.
Yes.
Where did she slap you?
Right here on the right side of my cheek.
And that's when you hit her?
Yes.
You have photographs of your injuries?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see them, please. You hurt her pretty badly, madam. You hurt her pretty badly. That's unreasonable.
She hit me.
I'm not sure about that. No, you say she slapped you. I believe that, but you assaulted her.
She hit me first.
No, I don't believe that. Not only don't I believe it, but even if she slapped you in the face after you took her purse, she's allowed to do that.
Well, I didn't steal her purse.
Yes, you did.
I grabbed it, yes.
Yes, you did. You stole her purse. The purpose of your removing it was not to steal its contents, was to make sure that you had identifying information about her because she was leaving. You could have had the same identifying information by just taking down her license plate number. You chose not to do that. You committed a felony. You reached into her car and took her purse. You lost your temper. That's a felony.
Well, anybody would under the circumstances.
No, my dear.
Well, not stealing the purse, but I was hot. No, I wouldn't have done it.
I would have stayed in my car until a police officer came. I would have locked my doors, rolled up my windows, and said...
Well, I called 911.
You may have called 911, but you stay in your car, especially when you have your daughter with you. You don't know what kind of nut this is. All you did was say to me, this person was driving erratically. That's what you said to me. She cut me off. She rammed my car, and instead of sitting in your car and protecting your daughter, you got out of the car and stole a pocketbook.
Actually, I got out of the car to estimate my damages, and she drove up alongside of me, started yelling at me.
So what? So, further proof.
But I was away from her.
You weren't away from her. You walked up to her car and reached into her bag. You can't do that. You understand that? Yeah, good. I'm glad you understand it. And you should be more responsible if you have your child with you. Now, go ahead.
I also asked her if she was on medication, and she said she was.
It's very possible. And if she told you she was on medication, I mean, I know that you didn't ask it in a calm way, because if somebody rams your car, as she rammed your car, you're not calm. So you probably said, what are you on?
No, I asked her, are you on any medication?
And she said?
Yes, I am.
Was that before or after you assaulted her?
That was before.
You got me? In any event, you have medical bills?
I actually don't have medical bills, except for like my prescriptions, to like $60 for prescriptions.
Okay.
I also have a report from, because there's more injuries than the pictures, because when I fell, my head hit the ground.
I'd like to see it.
So there's...
I didn't cause her to hit her head. She did that on her own.
Medical report.
And my daughter can witness to that.
I'm not going to call your daughter as a witness.
Okay.
I think you put her through quite enough.
Marlene Lacey is accusing fellow motorist Sarah Roshan of ramming her car during an incident of road rage.
What?
It says in the police report that there's no visual marks on her face. She said,
no, I read that there were no visual marks. She was not injured. No, I understand that.
Okay.
I do believe, however, that you damaged her car.
Okay.
I think that you lost it, and I think that you behaved very badly that day, Miss Lacey.
Okay.
Very badly. I think that you were in a rush to get to a doctor's appointment, and you were driving erratically on the road in order to do that. You placed a lot of people's lives in jeopardy, because that's what... You practically acknowledged that in your statement, but she's not allowed to lose her temper and assault you. Now, you were banged up.
Yes.
You were banged up. I'm awarding you $3,500 in fees for your pain and suffering,
okay,
medical bills, whatever they were.
Okay.
I'm awarding her $3,500 on her counterclaim to fix her car for the damage that you caused.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That means each of you gets nothing. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Melanie Clegg claims ex-boyfriend Newell Olmsted owes for rent and a television. Newell claims he's already paid his debt.
Mr. Olmsted, the plaintiff indicates in her complaint that you purchased a television set while the two of you were together, and you lived together for a period of time. You separated, and Ms. Clegg indicates that you separated because she found out some things that she didn't know about you. Does that be a fair statement? Mm-hmm. You have the television set. The payments for that television set was still outstanding when she left. It was some $1,200 left.
It was $1,257.
And on whose credit was it purchased?
Mine.
You got the TV.
Yes, ma'am.
You want the TV?
It's my TV, yeah.
It's not your TV unless you pay for it.
I did pay for it.
Show me. What date did you separate?
We separated in December.
December 2009.
2008.
Okay. After December of 2008, she says that when you separated, there was $1,257 still owing.
There was only $1,000 owed on it, and I transferred that money into her account in January. 2 transactions from my account to her account for $500 each a transaction. She didn't pay it off in time. Then the interest kicked in. There's 2 transactions. There's one on the first day. There's actually 3 transactions to her account equaling $1,500. The third one was for a credit card that she said I owed her $500 on, so I paid that as well.
Okay, explain that to me.
He did transfer money into my account. It was for a credit card that he had on my name because he didn't have good credit, so he could not get any credit in his name.
Well, how much was owed on the credit card at the time?
There was $400. The balance was $1,000. There's $400 charge, and it says on her attorneys for his divorce. And he also owed me for his child's dentist that I was paying, which I have proof here also that I was paying.
I'm not getting so involved in this complicated case. You understand that?
Yes. And
I want to know how much was owed on this credit card when you separated in December.
$1,062.
Take a look at this, sir.
All that one is the form.
The only thing on this that I owe was $400, and I paid her $500.
$400 for?
She paid my retainer for my attorney for my divorce with this credit card, okay?
How much?
She paid $400.
Yes.
I paid her $500 for the interest. So I transferred $500. There's 3 transactions there of $500 apiece.
And so what you're telling me is none of those other transactions on that credit card are yours?
I mean, no.
Look carefully.
That's only 1 month statement.
That's dinner.
I wasn't trying to get for that credit card. I was just saying that some of it.
She asked me.
No. Listen to me, Ms. Clegg, very carefully. I see he transferred $1,500 to you at the end of December and the beginning of January.
$1,500?
Yeah. 3 payments of $500, 2 on January 7th and 1 on January 21st.
I did not get those transactions.
Those are my bank records from my bank account to her bank account. So I don't know how she couldn't have got them.
Ms. Clegg, I just need your checking account for the months of December and January.
Here we go.
December 2008, January 2009.
Do you want the withdrawals or just the deposits that he had given me?
The statement. You should have it. Transfer from. I have 1 January 7th for $500 that she did, in fact, get. There is only 1 on January 7th for $500, sir, not 2.
Oh, you know, as Clegg L. That's a different account. I transferred that because she said that she needed to put it into a savings account. So
just a second. You have 2 that you've outlined on January 7th, both to Clegg M.
Okay.
She only received 1, but they're 2 different numbers. Hold on a second.
Yeah, there's 2 bank accounts. I mean, one of them was a savings.
Whoa. Wait a second. How many different bank accounts do you have?
I have 2 savings, and I have 1, which the L is my mother.
That's where you told me to transfer it to.
No. I have 2 different savings account numbers.
Yes, I do. I have 2 accounts. I have
2
that's
different
my
savings
mom's, and
accounts.
I have 2 other savings accounts.
Show me those 2 savings accounts.
I can show you on the internet. I don't have anything with that.
Don't show me on the internet.
Yeah, there's nothing. I have nothing.
Well, then you take a look at these.
Okay. Yeah, Clegg L is my mother, not me.
I just put it in the account she told me to put it in.
You owe my mother money.
Oh, now I owe her mother money.
No. I believe you. Mr. Olmsted.
Yes, ma'am.
I see where you gave her $1,500. She says she only received one payment of $500. That's a lie.
Yes, ma'am.
She received 3 payments of $500. 2 went into her savings accounts and 1 went into her checking account.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't believe that he only gave you 1 payment of $500. Now,
one of the Clegg L is my mom.
I don't care.
But that goes towards the TV?
His defense is that he gave you money after he moved out. Some of it was for his credit card, for his lawyer, and some of it was for the TV, $1,000 for the TV, which at that time, that's what was owed on the TV, which he paid for. He said the fact that you didn't make the payment on it and it went up to $1,200 is not his problem. If I believe him, then he doesn't owe you any money for the TV.
I put $1,000 down on that TV too, which I have proof of.
I don't care. TV, listen to me. All I'm concerned about is whether when you moved out there was any money due and owing on the television that he kept. And there was.
Yes.
And I find that he paid you for it. Now, the next thing I'm going to go over with you, what you say you loaned him for rent.
Yes.
Now I'll hear what you say you loaned him for rent. After you broke up, after you moved out, go.
I paid $2,600 to rent. He came to me in January of '09 and asked me if I could help him because he could not afford it and it would not look good in his divorce if he didn't have a place to stay. So I paid in January 2nd, I believe it is, I paid $995, which he was planning on paying me after his divorce. And
just a minute. Put your hand down. I saw it. Didn't you see me looking at you?
Well, I'm just making sure you saw me.
I couldn't miss it. Now, first show me proof that you gave him $2,600.
Okay. Here's that 1, 2, 3.
Don't give him anything. What are you showing me here?
The withdrawals out of the account were the rent for his house. That's a Wells Fargo account. It goes into a Bank of America account. And I had cash so that it wasn't the exact same amount every single month because I was...
Did she give you any money towards rent?
She didn't give me any money. She paid, I mean, yes, she did go pay the rent for us.
When?
January, February, March. But she received half the rent from him, so I don't know why she pulled out $900.
Shh. January, February, March. Now, she was not living with you then?
No, she moved out in December. Just stuck us with everything. Just moved out.
And who were you living with at that time?
He moved in, or he decided to stay to help me with the rent since she moved out.
Was this apartment in both your names or just your name?
It was just in my name, but we lived there together, yes.
Did you move in together or did she move in?
Yes. We moved in together in December of '08, and she moved out in December of '08.
Where had you been living before?
We had a house that we rented. We wanted to get into a cheaper place, so we got into a place that was $300 less a month.
When you lived in the house, were you sharing expenses?
Yes.
And why did you move out in December?
Because he was with my sister's best friend.
Yeah, that's a very good reason to leave.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Even if she thinks it, it's a very good reason to leave.
It is true, but the reason we split up is because she cheated on me.
I don't care.
So.
Actually, that's for another program, another time slot, not mine.
Okay.
I don't actually care about that. All I want to know is she moved out, the lease is in solely your name.
Yes.
And would you tell me why she paid any of the rent for January, February, and March?
She was helping me out, like she said. You know, I didn't have...
She was helping you?
Yes.
Why, if she was furious with you, because that's what she says, she was furious with you.
I didn't say she was furious.
Why? She says.
She says she's furious. I didn't. Why?
No. Listen to me. Hey.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Why would somebody who is furious with you, she says she was furious with you, give you money?
That baffles me.
I wouldn't give you a penny.
I wouldn't either.
Because she found out about him being together with her friend.
Listen, go get your 15 minutes someplace else, but don't shout out here.
I'm not trying to get 15 minutes. I'm just trying to state facts.
I don't want you to state anything unless I ask you to.
I raised my hand earlier and I didn't get a turn.
Excuse me.
But tell him not to go far in case I need him.
Will do.
I'm pretty sure we'll need him.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just as long as she knows that he's here. The gentleman, Motormouth, who was here a moment ago, did he give you any money?
No.
Towards rent?
He gave me $0.
You never got any money from him?
From him, no. If it came from his account, I don't know where the money came from.
Did you get any money?
That $500 that I put on there that says Tim's half of rent on that page, yes, that's the $500 of Tim's half of rent.
Who is Tim?
Motormouth.
Motormouth.
Yes.
Okay, so you got that money?
That's it.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. So you got $500 of the 26 that you gave him, which means you're out $2,100.
If that's what, can I ask you something?
You're out $2,100.
Can I ask you something? Is that going towards the TV?
Forget the TV. The TV's over. I've already made a judgment on the TV.
Yes, but if you're accounting that $500 transferred from his account that you see out of Newell Olmstead's account into my account, the $500.
I thought it was from him.
It's out of Newell Olmstead's account.
Oh, well, you can't use that same $500, Mr. Olmsted, 10 times.
I'm not.
You can only use it once.
Tim gave her...
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen to me. You might be a very, very nice man and have many redeeming qualities. You're not George Clooney. Nobody who's not living with you, sir, is going to pay $2,600 for your rent. Not somebody that looks like that. Do you understand? Take a good look. Somebody that looks like that is not going to pay $2,600 for your rent after she's already broken up with you.
I agree.
But that's what she did.
No, she did not. Tim paid her $450. His part of the rent, he paid her. So that's not true. Yes, she
I don't believe that. And I don't believe Motormouth.
Okay.
I don't believe you should have had nothing to do with her. After you separated, you should have nothing to do with her. How come she gave you money? Did you call her and tell her that you needed money for rent?
I asked her to help me with rent. Yes,
good. You owe her $2,600. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Jessica Lager says former friends Brent and Nick Boots vandalized her car by jumping on the hood and...
Thank you, Bert. Ms. Lager, these two young men used to be friends of yours, and it is your claim that some time ago they vandalized your car while they were probably drunk, acting like fools. What's your last name?
Boots.
And yours?
Boots.
Are you brothers?
Yes, we are.
The Boots brothers?
Yep. Yeah.
You ought to make a movie out of it. Boots brothers. They say it wasn't them. When did this happen, Miss Lager?
On my 21st birthday, June 3rd, 2006.
And where was your car at the time?
It was at my boyfriend's mother's house, Danelle Foley's.
That would be you?
Yes.
Could you stand up? Because you weren't there.
Correct, I was not there.
When had you parked your car in front of your boyfriend's mother's house?
Well, I was letting her borrow it for quite some time because her vehicle was getting fixed at the time.
What kind of car did you have?
It's a 2001 Nabira Daewoo.
Could you keep your voice up? I'm old.
It was a 2001 Nabira Daewoo.
What is that?
It's a four-door silver vehicle. Nabira.
Where is that made?
I believe Korea, but I'm not sure.
I never heard of it. I'm so pleased that you didn't. I'm sure it's a lovely car.
It was a lovely car.
Ms. Foley, do you remember June 3rd, 2006?
Yes.
I knew you were home on June 3rd, 2006.
Yes.
Which one of the Boots boys is going to speak?
I will.
And what is your first name?
Brent.
And yours?
My name's Nick.
No, I think I want Nick to speak. Now, Nick, how far do you live from Miss Foley?
Only like 2 blocks.
You have any reason to be near Miss Foley's house?
I'm best friends with their kid.
Keep your voice up, Nick.
I'm best friends with their son.
What's her son's name?
Bart.
Is that person here today?
Nah, he's not.
Your younger brother?
Yeah, it was my younger brother.
How long have you been friends?
Since I was like 2.
Tell me about June 2006.
Well,
No. Don't look there. Don't look there.
Well, we were at her house and... Sorry. We were at her house, like, having a party or whatever, chilling. Just a get-together,
How many people were there?
Just like 4 of us.
Which 4? The 2 Boots boys?
Her. And then my girlfriend was there, and then her son was there.
There were 5 of you there. That would be 5. Let's count
Or
them.
other than me.
Nick, you want to count them? That would be 5 altogether, right? And when had you started chilling?
I'm not sure what time it was.
Around 9 or so, I'd say. 8 or 9.
And then what happened, Nick?
We were just drinking and whatnot, and then we left.
Drinking. What were you drinking?
Vodka.
Where did you get the vodka from?
I believe.
No! Don't speak unless I speak to you. I want Nick. Don't speak. Where did you get the vodka from?
I believe it was from her, because it was
From
her
who?
21st birthday. Jessica.
Was she home?
No.
Well, where did you get the vodka from?
We met up with them earlier on that day.
And she gave you a bottle of vodka?
Well, she purchased it for us. We gave her the money.
So you gave Miss Lager the cash, and she went into a liquor store and purchased how much vodka?
A liter.
A liter. That's a big bottle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
And what were you mixing the liter with?
We were just taking shots and drinking pop.
Shots and pop.
Shots and pop, yes.
And then what happened?
Nothing. We all had fun, and then once the night was over, we all went home.
I didn't see Miss Lager's car.
No.
Miss Lager, did you purchase vodka for them?
No, I did not. No, I do not purchase vodka for underage minors.
Why do you think furry?
To make it look good for themselves.
Nah. They could have just said, you know, they found it. So I believe that you purchased it for them.
It was my 21st birthday. Why would I purchase alcohol for them?
I have no idea, because they were with your boyfriend's little brother.
I wasn't even near them all day. I was with my mother all day.
Okay. Miss Foley, tell me what you saw on June 3rd with regard to the Boots Boys and Miss Lager's car.
I was at home. My son Bartley came up late that night and said, Mother, Brent and Nick are out kicking in Jesse's car. You need to come out and make him stop. So I went down, I looked out the landing. Brent was on the hood of the car, the roof of the car.
Brent, why couldn't you let Nick go on the hood of the car?
So I went down 2 more flights of stairs. By the time I got out there, Brent was off of the car, standing by the passenger mirror. Nick was standing in front of the car trying to kick the headlight. And he had stated to me that he had kicked the headlight and it didn't break. And Brent said he kicked the mirror off, but it didn't come off all the way. And I asked him why they were doing that, and they were mad at Jessica, I guess, at the time. So
why were you mad at Jessica?
We were mad at Jessica, but...
Well, tell me why you were mad at her. I just want to know why you were mad at her.
Stole a digital camera from my ex-girlfriend out of our house.
Oh, then I don't believe that she bought you alcohol. There you go. See what happened? If you were mad at her, why would you give her money to buy you alcohol on the same day?
She was always around anyways.
Oh.
Because I used to be best friends with him over there, her boyfriend.
We all hung out every day.
Now, she's the mother of your really good friend, right?
Yes.
So you know her for a long time.
Most of my
You
life.
go to her house? Put your hand down. You go to her house?
Every day, practically.
She sometimes gives you a sandwich?
Yeah.
You know?
I eat over there occasionally, I could say.
So you think there's any reason why she would lie about you?
No, I wouldn't see a reason why she would.
Why would she lie about her son's best friend, who she sees every day of his life, who she's very good to? Why would she lie about him?
I don't know.
Do you understand my problem here, Nick?
Yes, I do.
You know where I'm coming from?
Sort of, yeah.
Are you twins?
No.
Who's older?
I'm older.
What about your older brother here? Did he ever go over to Miss Foley's house?
Yep.
Eat at her house?
We didn't really know much people in the area, so we were there all the time.
And Miss Foley was always nice to you?
Most of the time, yes.
Can you think of any reason why she would tell such a horrendous lie about you vandalizing a car that she was driving? Huh?
Maybe because Jessica's going to give her some money for it or something.
No. Then you would have to say that she's a liar and a thief.
She is.
Miss Foley?
Oh, not Miss Foley, but Jessica.
I'm talking about Miss Foley.
No, she's not a
Miss
thief.
Foley is the one who identified you, not Miss Lager. You want to look at Miss Foley and tell her she's a liar?
On this
Nick!
point, yes.
You want to look at Miss Foley and tell her she's a liar? You followed your brother.
Yeah.
No, say this. Miss Foley, you're a liar.
I wish she wouldn't lie, that's what.
Uh-huh. Evidently, you were a better friend than your older brother, because you couldn't say it. Now, when you do something wrong, you're supposed to fess up. Now, it's possible that you two morons don't remember, because you were drinking a liter of vodka, what you did on the night of June 3rd. That's possible. How old are you?
I'm 19.
And you?
21.
Can I see an estimate on fixing your car and photographs, please? Are you still friendly with her younger son?
Not really.
Was he also involved? Well, you don't know. Was your youngest son involved in this?
he didn't, nope.
Was he? Just a second.
No, he did not do anything to the car.
Did you want to say something?
I was going to say I thought you were talking about him, but I am friends with her youngest son, yes.
No, I asked if her youngest son did anything to this car.
He wasn't there. He was upstairs the whole time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Did you hear what he said? He said, no, he wasn't there. He was upstairs all the time. You just let them go and go and go, and after a while, they just, you know.
They'll sign off.
They just sign off on it, right?
It was in an accident. Yeah, her car was in an accident before that, and it was all dented, and she was trying to say that we did all that when it couldn't
How much
possibly.
did you do?
I didn't do nothing.
Well, yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Now, if you said to me, listen, we got a little drunk, and we acted stupid around the car, but a lot of this damage was done before.
This stuff happens all the time in our area.
What, that you jump on the hood of a car?
No. Landlord.
I asked you a question. Your brother couldn't say it. If Miss Foley identified you two boys who were lifelong friends of one of her children, there would have to be a reason. Because when people identify someone who's caused damage to their property, they want the right people punished. They don't want the wrong people punished. They want the right people to pay for the damage. Now, if she had some axe to grind with you, I could understand it. But you've given me no motive for her to lie about it.
She wasn't even there. This is completely false and erroneous. And
yeah, no, you're erroneous.
No.
You're erroneous and irrelevant. Erroneous and irrelevant.
And the car's not even worth that much to begin with.
You're absolutely right. How much did you pay for the car?
Around $7,000.
Okay, well, I'm not going to give you $11,000 to fix it.
No, I don't.
No. You could go buy yourself a new car.
Car can't even drive down the road straight. You let go of the wheel and you'll be in
Listen,
the
you
ditch.
couldn't walk straight. That's not up to you, young man. That's not up to you. When you damage somebody's property, you take it as you take it. That's it. And when you act like a fool, that's why they don't let people drink until they're 21 years old, because even 21-year-olds are morons. 20-year-olds and 19-year-olds are double morons. They shouldn't even be allowed out of the house after 9 o'clock at night. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
April Harrington says former live-in boyfriend Fred Badman sold her belongings after she moved out. Fred is countersuing, claiming April also stole from him.
Ms. Harrington, according to the complaint that I read, you and the defendant were in a relationship and lived together for a period of time. When you moved in together, you took some of your stuff and put it in a storage unit. The storage unit was in Mr. Badman's name.
That's right.
And he paid for it.
No.
That's what he says. There came a time when the two of you parted company, a day that you will tell me about briefly, and it is your claim that he got rid of the stuff in your storage unit, which you wanted back. Mr. Badman acknowledges that he emptied the storage unit. Some of your stuff he gave to the Salvation Army. Some of your furniture he still has. And the reason he did that was that when you moved out, you took a substantial amount of property that did not belong to you, that belonged to him and to his daughter, and he has a counterclaim. How long did you live together?
He moved in with me in February of 2004. He had a dog, and I had a dog, and I was only allowed one dog at my apartment complex. Therefore, he moved into his own place, and about a few weeks after him living there, he begged me to move in, told me how much cheaper it would be.
Just listen to me.
Okay.
This is not a 1,000-page tome that we're going to do here. When did you move in together?
May of 2004.
And when did you put your property in storage?
The end of May, I believe.
The day she moved in, there wasn't room in my apartment for many of the
What
things.
did you put in storage?
I put living room furniture, dishes. My parents had started collecting teddy bears for me when I was a child. A futon, a bed, clothes, shoes, dresser, desk combination, a glass mirror, and my diploma, important tax information papers, all sorts of things.
And when did you separate?
July 25th, 2004.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding you moving out.
I had found out that he had been cheating on me with her. That is his baby's mother. We were going to court for custody of his child, me and him together, and I found out that he was cheating on me. I came home from work early, asked him, you know, why are you doing this? Can we please talk about this? He then shoved me into a dresser, and I dislocated my finger. The police then told him that he should leave the apartment for a few days while I got my things together. Within those 3 days, he came back and broke in his own door, busted the lock off, and I moved out the very next day because I wasn't safe living there with no lock on the door. I took the things that belonged to me and only me. The only thing that I have of him are some pornography tapes that I did not bring with me because of the security on the airplane, and I didn't want them flashing about. They're kind of disgusting.
What'd you take them for?
They were actually in a box of movies of mine.
When did you try to get your property back?
Right after I moved out, I went to the storage unit to see I had a key to it because my things were in it. I did pay for it, and he had changed the locks.
Now I'll hear you, sir.
When we did break up, it was because of accusing me of fooling around with her. We were just friends. We've always stayed friends because we have a child in common. So I didn't want to argue, so I left the home. She called the police. We went down there. She decided she didn't want to charge say anything because she told the police that I beat her up or whatever. So then we went to the police station.
You did. You broke my finger.
Anything. She did not file the report. Anything. She said.
Shh. Don't say anything when he's testifying. You know how quiet he was when you were telling me your story? I read your complaint very carefully. You came home and you wanted to talk to him. That's what you said in your complaint.
Correct.
He was sleeping.
No, he was up.
It says, I'm reading from your complaint, things were going terribly for us, and he was served with an eviction notice. On July 25th, not June, on July 25th, 2004, everything came to a head. We were in an argument. I came home from work to talk to Fred. He was sleeping, and I tried to get him to talk to me. That's what you said.
Okay, that's fine.
And when you want to talk to somebody and they're sleeping and they don't want to communicate with you, you get angry.
No, I was not angry.
You weren't angry.
No, I was not.
No, you weren't angry.
I was upset.
You were living with somebody. You think he was fooling around with the mother of his child. According to you, you came home. You found him sleeping. You went in there and he didn't want to talk to you. And so he broke your finger.
He did.
Miss Harrington, I have no question that your finger got broken. I don't think he broke it.
He wrote it in his report to the police. I actually have it.
Oh, I'd like to see that. He said he broke your finger. I'd like to see that.
Yes, it does say
I
that.
squeezed her hand. And that was after she went and punched the wall
It's
about 20
highlighted in
times
yellow.
around her. On the report, it says that there's no injuries to anybody. She didn't report any injuries to the police.
No,
right
there
there.
were none marked.
I just wanted her to leave me alone. April started to poke me on the right side of my body with her finger. I told her to leave me alone. She continued to poke me with her finger, saying, stop being a blank jerk and talk to me. You know, you live long enough, you could practically write the scenario. I want to talk to you. Leave me alone. I just want to sleep. I don't want to talk to you now. Leave me alone. I want to talk to you. Then you say, I rolled over and grabbed her hand. I cannot remember which I had grabbed, but it was her bad hand, and she started crying. April asked me why I grabbed her like that, and I said, because you keep poking me.
I wasn't poking him. I really wanted to talk about it. I was very upset.
Listen to me. I got it. You just told me you weren't upset. Listen to me. A moment ago, you said I came home from work. I just wanted to talk. I wasn't upset. Listen to me, Miss Harrington.
Your Honor, I wasn't angry. I was very upset. I was crying, hurt. I was not angry.
Then what I'm telling you is, you upset, angry, whatever it was, you can't put your hands on somebody like this. And if they don't like it, which she said, you gave me the report. So you want to vouch for the truth of this report.
No, just
the part that you like.
No, that's not true. If you read my statement also.
I'm reading his statement. Okay. That's what you gave me.
If you keep reading it, he also pushed me in the face and kicked me off the bed. And
listen to me. He wanted you to leave him alone.
So it's okay if he kicks me. And
you shouldn't have put your hands on him. Miss Harrington, you put your hands on
I wasn't hurting him. I was.
Listen to me. You can't put your hands on somebody and continue to irritate them and expect them to do nothing.
That's fine.
Good. What property of hers did you give away to the Salvation Army?
Things I gave away of hers, I went and retrieved all the stuff from the storage unit because I didn't want to pay more on it.
What month did you do that?
February 05, ma'am.
So you left it there for 6 months?
Many months I left it there.
She asked you for the stuff back.
I wanted my items back before I was going to give her anything. That's what I told her.
What items were they?
She took my entertainment stand, a bunch of movies.
Just a second. Entertainment stand. What does that look like, sir?
It's right here. And a tent. That's what I got pictures of.
Oh, you better need a cup of coffee.
An entertainment stand, some movies.
I mean, this entertainment stand, did you put it together yourself?
Yes, I did.
You put it together yourself?
Yes. I bought it from an appliance store years ago.
$69, you put it all together?
No, it was $300. It's a large entertainment stand.
I'm looking at it, sir. I got it.
Okay.
Let us say she took the entertainment stand. And she took
the tent.
Did you take his tent?
No, I did not.
Did you take his entertainment stand?
He gave that to me because where he was moving had a big screen TV and he no longer needed it.
Big screen TV.
What else do you say she took of yours, sir?
She took my fishing tackle box, some PlayStation 1 video games. I don't know why she would have took my Jack, but Jack wasn't at my house no more. And she took my daughter's clothing and toys. Because when we were living together, we went out together, bought clothing and toys and many things for my daughter's birthday when she turned 1. And when she moved out, she figured I bought them, I'm taking them myself. So she took all the things that we bought together for my daughter.
All the things that she paid for?
Correct.
Good.
We paid
for.
for
Listen to me. All the things that you paid for.
Correct.
Listen to me, Miss Harrington. You may have paid for them, but once you make a gift, then they no longer belong to you.
Okay, I actually bought them because we were going to custody for the child.
I don't care. They were not, the clothes didn't fit you.
Correct.
The toys weren't for you to play with. And once you purchase something and give it away, the gift is complete. You no longer have ties to it. You cannot take it. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So that was wrong.
I know that was wrong.
So why didn't you give them back?
I took them out of spite, actually, honestly, and I did not give them back because we didn't talk anymore after that. He no longer, he wouldn't give me my things out of the storage unit. And
did he ask you for his daughter's things?
No, he never, he gave them to me willingly.
No, I don't believe that. Madam, you just said to me, that's a fib, because you just said to me, I took them out of spite.
Ma'am,
listen to me, you can't have it both ways.
I asked them for them back out of spite, yes, and he did give them to me willingly. I went to his new house.
Sounds to me like you two people did a lot of nasty things to each other.
Very true.
But, Mr. Badman, you cannot dispose of her property. You can go to court and seek to recoup your $29.99 TV stand. Or, if you say your tent, which she says she doesn't have, that you can do. But you cannot give away her property.
I kept the important things, Your Honor. I kept all of her.
Oh, good. That's what I want to see. What important things that you kept?
I kept all of the furniture that she had, and I kept important documents like her taxes that she's been wanting.
Good.
And
I'd like to see all of those things, sir.
Her GED papers.
Perfect. Oh, this is going to be
Would you like my list also?
I'm speaking.
Okay.
It's all junk, Your Honor. Yes, I
In
have
your
all that.
house?
It's at my aunt's house.
It looks like it's in a barn.
It is. So I wasn't going to keep paying $85 a month for stuff.
You should have given it back to her.
I didn't want to do that when she's kept all my stuff.
You're a big baby, Mr. Badman. You're a baby.
All right.
Yeah, you're a baby. 5 days from today, she's going to pick up all of her property. It's to be put together in good order.
The place where my things are at, there are 13 cats, and the house itself and the barn itself is absolutely covered in feces and urine.
Miss Harrington, this is your choice. The property has been in Mr. Badman's possession now for over a year.
Correct.
You had a choice. Your choice was to immediately pursue him in court, just as you did now, a month later. Listen to me. A month later, and get your stuff.
He told me he sold it.
Well, then what brought you here a year later? Is not an answer.
He started leaving notes in my car, like trying to get in contact with me, so I went to see him, and he told me he sold them.
And I'm telling you, what you did was you waited for a year to pursue a matter in court, and now if you don't like the way the stuff has been, you're not going to get the cash for it. Okay, now I want you to tell me what you gave to Salvation Army.
I gave 2 Rubbermaid bins of clothing that was all moldy and gross from sitting around forever. The little box of ceramic dishes that she had, a few of them items were broke, so I had to throw them in the garbage, and a little bag of teddy bears that were just junk, and that was it.
Mr. Badman, that junk is going to cost you $1,000.
For dishes?
They weren't broken when she left them, and the clothes weren't moldy when she left them, and the teddy bears were a collection of hers, and you had no right to dispose of them. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now, what proof do you have that she took any of your property?
I don't really have proof of anything because when I've broken up with girls before and I've dealt with them stealing like a couple things, and I just wanted to move on with my life.
You mean this has happened to you before?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
A couple.
You're very unlucky in love. Are you together now with the mother of your child?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
You live together?
She's my fiancée. We're just going to be married soon.
Oh, wonderful. So you did a little bit backwards,
my life all straightened out and everything's good, and just want to be with my child and get all this over with.
Very good. My complaint against Miss Harrington is a complaint that I can put on your shoulders as well, sir. You had a legal remedy, right?
I didn't choose to do anything.
You chose to do nothing.
Right.
And you have no proof that she took anything.
And she has no proof of what was in the storage unit either. Yeah.
Listen to me.
Of the few items that she does
You
have.
just told me what it was that you,
That
as
what I
far
do
as I'm
have.
concerned, maliciously gave away, including something that she says was a teddy bear collection that she had for a very long time, and you said it was a bunch of junk teddy bears. It's not nice. That's irritating. You told me that. She didn't. I wouldn't even look at her list. I asked you what she gave to Salvation Army. So your counterclaim's dismissed. 5 days from today, she's going to pick up all of her stuff. And you owe her $1,000 for the stuff that you gave away wrongfully. That's all. Step out.
barang modal. Gue lagi boleh dia panen dia bosnya jauh lah enak mana enak dia. Ekstra nama betul-betul untuk biar gitu. Mau yang aku punya mau. Apa?
कर दिए पैसा वेस्ट जा रहा है।
हाँ बाजी कुछ काम में कहा
हैंडल छोड़ दिए शिकारा में लड़ा। अरे
हाँ,
शिकारा में एक्सीडेंट हो रहा है यहाँ से।
ठीक
ला 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 ला
ठीक
गौरव भाई गौरव भाई
हाँ क्या बोला जाए
डब्बा में थोड़ा कंट्रीब्यूट कीजिए to my channel YouTube. Hello guys, channel to my welcome guys. Channel my YouTube guys.
Like भाई.
Please like, share and subscribe.
दिखाओ टिकट दिखाओ. ये देखिए ये है 20 रुपए का टिकट.
इसका हम लोग फाड़ दिए.
भाई हो दादा उतरने नहीं देगा.
अभी तो नहीं नजर आ रहा है कुछ भी.
तो आपको थोड़ी देखना है महाराज, उनको देखना है तो.
अरे वही नहीं दिख रही है कि वीडियो कॉल पे है भी कि नहीं.
लाइट बढ़ाइए.
कर आ रहा है. नेटवर्क क्षेत्र से थोड़ा सा बाहर की हो.
देखिए यहाँ सूट का काम चल रहा है. बस हैंड ही लगा लेना. वो लगा लो.
दिख रहा है. उधर
नहीं हुआ बस स्क्रीन में
उधर कीजिए. कोई तो चुनरी पर लाल लाल पे.
अब लोग घुमा के बोलो.